Okay, we'll go in just a second. I'm just popping open a couple emails that I'll be reading and accessing during the meeting. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. Welcome to the June Western BCA quarterly meeting. First item of business is guest sign in. So Julie, will you please take it away with signing in people and make sure you got them all?
I'm still working on it. So can you go through a couple of other things and then I can do the list?
Okay, the next one is quorum determined. I believe fully based on the names I see and recognize, we have a quorum necessary to have a meeting.
We do. 12:04.
You agree, Julie?
Yes.
Excellent. This next item is to call this meeting to order at 12:04 p.m.
Crystal.
I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the current agenda. Is there a motion from the floor? Please unmute yourself because to make the motion to accept the current agenda, is it just say so moved?
Now, Darren, you needed to make the change of Nancy Measer's item if you were going to put that back on from last meeting.
Oh, that's right. Let's see. From the prior meeting, I was supposed to add Nancy Measer's item back to the agenda. And her item was to vote in women's divisions. So I believe that item has been carried over for 2 prior meetings. And I think I saw Nancy here today. Nancy, are you there? There you are.
I'm here.
All those in favor of, of accepting the current agenda with the one addition of adding Nancy Measer's agenda item to reinstate women's divisions to Western BCA regional tournaments. Could I get a motion to accept that modified?
I motion.
I heard a motion. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Excellent. We got a second. All those abstaining from accepting the modified agenda, please raise your hand. How do you want to do that counting, Julie? Raise hands and speak up. I got to speak up. There's too many without video.
Well, I don't have a count of all the people, so let's just make it unanimous. Nobody
There's unanimous.
30,
so let's
there's
proceed.
39. There's 40 of us in here. Once I just
Okay.
let this one in right now.
all voting members and some
Right
people.
now I see 0 abstained. Is there anyone else abstained? 0 abstained. If I'm incorrect, please speak up and let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to have Julie make note that 0 people have abstained from accepting the modified current agenda. Okay, next is to vote against accepting the modified current agenda. Please raise your hand or speak up. If you make sure if you raise your hand, I see 1 person. Michelle is against. Anybody else against accepting the modified current agenda? Anyone against? I see 1 person against, 0 abstained. The motion carries. Whatever Julie says the final count is. 0 abstained, 1 against.
And there's
I have-
41 in the room. So however many is
Yeah,
voting.
That doesn't, we can't go by
Yes.
that count because there's 2 people in some windows and some people can't vote. So it doesn't matter how many are actually in the room.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go with your
Ryan.
count right now.
Is that Ryan Huntoon that just got on?
Yes.
Thank you. And I have a Samsung SM S9. I don't know who that is.
Nikki, please private message Samsung for us.
Yeah, I did that one. And there was a, oh, somebody already changed their own name. Sweet. Okay. But yes, I did that already. Thank you.
Oh, let me know as soon as you hear, because I don't know who that is.
So Julie,
Trudy,
we're going to
I'm
wait for you to finish your count so that we can proceed with.
Okay, I can do it right now, I think. And then anybody who doesn't hear, their name. Stephen, is Christy with you or is she not here yet? You're muted.
She's signed on there. She's just on a separate device. She's
Maybe
not feeling
she's
well,
the
so she has the
Samsung.
camera off.
Oh,
Is
no, there
she-
she is. I'm sorry. I didn't see her. There she is. I still don't know who that Samsung is.
I'm trying to get down to, oh yeah, I don't know, the Chromebook Crystal fixed herself, or Stephanie Crystal fixed herself, and the Samsung one, they haven't responded to the chat. So if your name is Samsung at the top, you can let us know. Oh yeah, there you are.
Oh, and Tammy Vick is with you as well.
Is Samsung me?
She's
It's
nodding
Kamatha.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. What's your name?
That's Tamitha.
Kamatha might be the Samsung because, yeah, but I'm
Okay.
on.
I don't
Does it
see
not
you
show my
anywhere
name?
else, so I'm guessing that's you.
Oh, for
Renee,
heaven's
and
sake.
you said
I'm gonna fix that.
Tamitha?
Yeah,
Kamatha.
Kamatha Gershon, yeah, when she speaks, her name gets highlighted, the Samsung gets highlighted on my screen, so that's her.
Cam with a C?
Kamatha, Camatha.
Okay, I just changed it.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, Julie, did you catch that there's 3 voting members
I
and Sam
did,
Rubito's?
I did.
All right,
I got
good
that.
deal.
That's perfect. Okay. That's why we need the count, because it doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through these names. When I'm done, if you didn't hear your name, just let me know. I have Becky Potter, Arlene Grosjean, Bill Henderson, Johnny Landis, Tammy Culbertson, Vic Albertson, Sue Ledger, Raquel Menarez, Michelle Jensen, Patrick Bennett, Amber Davis, Ryan Hunt-Toon, Jeff Potter, Kamatha Grosjean, Robin Adams, Nikki Bisconer, Brittany DeWalt, Julie Fraser, Tim Fraser, Michael Littman, Bob Olson, Melissa Reeves, Lawrence Frampton, Nancy Meeser, Christy Palmer, Kai Rayburn, Ed Slade, Stephen Weekly, Michael Deichman, Izzy Lemus, Steve Marker, Darren Walding, Stephanie Crystal, Tammy Conabear, Angela Busenbark, Doug Gibb, Trudy McCaffrey, Chris Moreno, and Sam Rubito. So if I did not say your name, but I have 2 guests, Calvin Hatfield and Dylan Deichman. If I did not say your name, please let me know.
Julie, this is Carly. You didn't say my name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carly, I have you, you were on the last page.
That's all right.
The last page. And I see.
Julie, you didn't say my name, Elaine.
Elaine and Linda Knight I see is on here too, and I don't think I said her name.
And Linda
Uh,
Carter.
Julie,
Deichman's
Jim
here.
Roberts.
Jim Roberts. Hold on.
Did you get Linda Carter?
On here?
I got Linda
Thank you.
and Roberts.
Jim Roberts.
Oh, there you are. Got you. And did I see Linda Knight on here? Or was I wrong? I might have seen Linda Carter and just thought Knight. No Linda Knight. All right, then we're good to go.
Thank you very much,
Julie,
Julie.
whoops.
Huh?
I'm here also with Ryan. Sorry, Darren. Shelley.
Okay.
Oh,
June.
Shelley. Okay, thank you, Shelley.
And
You're
then
on the same device.
Hey, Julie, did you get Dave Chavez and Trina Chavez as well?
Nope. Dave Chavez.
And Trina, she's a member at large.
Member at large.
Yep.
Got them now. Anybody else? Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to do that because the screens move around so much. I miss them here and there. So now we know we have everybody.
Okay,
Julie,
just
how
out
about
of
Doug Schultz?
curiosity, how many voting members do you have today, Jules?
$45. Well, oh, no. 47.
Julie?
47. Oh, Doug Schultz, 48.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to get started on
If-
my,
hold
If
on.
you or Nikki let anybody in, please, it's very important to let me know so I can change that
Okay.
count.
So I did let Bob Olson in, but I think he was already in relogging in, and now I'm letting Ray Cunningham in right now.
Okay,
And everybody else is in, and Mike, Michelle Jensen, to clarify, I raised my hand to point out that Julie didn't finish the roll call before Darren asked for the approval of modified agenda. I wasn't trying to raise my hand against it. I apologize
Okay.
for the misunderstanding. So everybody's in favor for that, it looks like. We're
Okay.
moving quickly
I
to the,
also, Julie and Nikki, I also see that in the chat though, it's showing Bob Olson joined as a guest, Ray Cunningham joined as a guest that I'm seeing.
And it shows in
Yeah,
the chat when
she
people
just
join.
gave me those.
Yeah, so it's showing
Yeah.
in the chat as they
Right.
come in too. Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm typing, I can't always watch the chat, but I'll try to keep an eye on it.
All right, well, I'm going to get started with the president's statement. If you're done, Julie.
I'm done, thank you.
All right,
Darren,
thank
do
you.
you have your president's statement written up for me?
I know the drill. I'll send it to you
Okay,
afterwards.
thank you.
Yes.
and I'm letting Shelley Hunt soon in right now. Hunt.
Okay, I already have her, so.
Okay.
All right. Well, I want to start off by saying that I have little to add what's already been said about the pool table issue. But a good friend reminded me of a saying the other day that goes like this. And if it says, if you can't accomplish great things, then do small things greatly. And that kind of sums up where I'm at with this whole thing. It's my belief that the association's not quite ready to accept the 5-year vision that I laid out in the previous meeting. I know in my heart, the best course of action is to at least try the predator tables for 1 year. And if the association wishes to return to diamonds, then do so. The smart thing to do would be to bank the savings you receive next year and use it to purchase 40 tables of your choice, probably diamonds. Either way, I think we're still going to very likely vote in diamonds. Anyways, the purpose behind that strategy was that way you'd only have to rent only 40 tables in the future. So I also think this would force Bad Boys to come up with a more competitive offer if we went with Predator for 1 year. And they would probably have to go back to the drawing board. I want to transition to a quick note about upcoming item number 3 and 4 on the agenda. Just for people's information, the Western BCA has never voted to accept divisions, only leagues as a whole. So when we get to that item, I just wanted to have that backstory information in there. And the last time we voted on our territories was many, many years ago. And we originally voted in Oregon and Washington. When we voted in Idaho, we voted in the leagues one at a time, but we didn't technically vote in the whole state. We voted to accept Alaska at one meeting and Northwest Nevada. But in each of those cases, we voted on individual leagues and not the whole states. So I think it's important going forward that we at some point identify our territory and get it down to a vote, because we have not done so specifically. And I just want people to also know that league operators start divisions all the time without our permission. I know of one, I just found out about one that started near another league that we don't find out about them. All we get is the annual renewal from the leagues. So they can start a division 6 months after doing their renewal, and we won't know because they, so they're supposed to give us the league locations in the form of cities that they play in. So it's something long-term that needs to be addressed in the association as far as what our rules are around all this. The only thing we stop league operators from doing is if a league operator wants to start league in a bar where another league is playing out of, that's not allowed. We don't let them overlap the specific cities, so in places where they're not. So next, I want to announce the formation of a new committee on bylaws, policies, and procedures. This committee will consist of roughly 7 members, and the chair of the committee will be Bill Henderson. I'm asking that Sam Rabito, our current policies, procedures, and bylaws leader, will serve on the committee, and I'd also like Julie Frazier to serve on the committee. If anyone with an eye for details in reading, writing policies and procedures wishes to serve on this committee, please raise your hand or speak up now. So if there's anyone who'd like to serve on a policies, procedures, and bylaws, we're going to be modifying and updating them because some of them are very old and have not been modified in a long time. Those changes would obviously come to this group to vote on, but we need people to work on them and make them more modern. So, Nikki, are you seeing anybody interested in joining the Policies, Procedures, and Bylaws Committee? Chat, you feel free to chat, raise your hand, whatever you want to communicate.
Oh, yes, I see Lawrence Frampton
Excellent.
and Carly Watrous. If I hack up your last name, I'm super sorry.
I don't
And
see-
Izzy L. Thanks, Izzy. That one's easy for me. L. Oh, Arlene.
And Bill Henderson, are you writing these down? I am for you in case you're not. Who's the last one? Eileen or Arlene?
Arlyn.
Arlen.
Hi, Arlene. I
Yeah,
knew
I'm
that is.
sorry. Again, that's not my specialty. I'm so sorry. And Christy Palmer
Okay, 2, 4.
and Bill, did Jackson say he wanted to do that too, or no? I know he's on an airplane right this minute, but it sounds like he was interested in that.
Chad, are you talking about Chad? Or Jackson?
No, he said Jack. She said Jackson.
He's interested in getting a mission statement, which could be in the bylaws. It currently is, we currently have no mission statement, but we have purposes and objectives.
Okay, and I'm letting a couple people in right now. I just let in Lisa and Suzanne and Dave Mackey. I'm letting in right now.
Okay, who's Lisa?
Good question. I will ask right now.
And is it Suzanne and Dave?
Yes.
No.
Oh, wait.
No, it's not. It's
Yeah,
Suzanne.
yes. Well, it says that. It says that they're both there.
Right, no,
Suzanne
it's
and Dave.
Suzanne.
Okay.
Sadly,
So-
Dave passed away.
Oh, no.
Oh. Okay.
And who is Lisa?
What is your?
Most
No.
likely Lisa Van
Hi.
Winkle.
Yep,
Okay.
Lisa Van Winkle.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
I
you.
just got out of church.
Okay, no new names are coming up as people that want to
That's
be
too
on that
bad.
board.
Okay, so Bill Henderson, do you got those names written down? You want me to read them off to you?
Hit him.
Okay, Lawrence Frampton, Carly Watrous, Izzy Lemus, Lemus, Arlen Grishong, you know him, Christy Palmer. And then I couldn't quite tell. So you had, I don't know if you've got Chad and Jackson. I'll let you handle those two because I didn't.
Okay.
Did you say Carly too?
Yes,
Who did you have after Arlen?
I had Christy Palmer.
Okay.
So do you
Don't
want to
forget
have?
Sam.
Do you want to have each one of those people email you directly, Bill, so you get their email address to get this started? Because I'm learning that
Sure, that'd be great.
so please, everyone interested in joining this committee and team, please email Bill Henderson, and will you recite your email address so I don't chop it up, Bill?
And I'll put it in chat too.
What's your email?
WHENDO44@gmail.com.
Okay, so if you're interested, if I'm speaking to Lawrence, Carly, Izzy, Arlen, and Christy, please email WHENDO44@gmail.com. And that will help get things rolling. I appreciate
This-
everybody's willingness
This will be an ad hoc committee.
yes. It'll
Can you
serve just
explain
for
what
the,
that means?
It's one purpose only. When the purpose is done, the committee will be dissolved.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not a long-term standing committee like other ones we have. Thank you for pointing that out, Bill. And the last item I had on my president's statement was that Tammy Culbertson, our event coordinator, has chosen Dave Chavez to be our head tournament official going forward. So with that said, next item is Tammy Culbertson's vice president statement. Tammy, unmute yourself.
Okay, so a couple things. Let's see, Bill Henderson and myself, Vic and Jerry all met at Coeur d'Alene Casino end of May. And we actually met with the one of the banquet managers. He let us look at the event centers. This was for a possible third event or third venue, June, July timeframe. But the main event center, event room is pretty cool, but we'd only be able to have probably 20 tables, or 40 tables. So it's not big enough. As much as I like the location, it's still like 25 miles from actual city of Coeur d'Alene, 35 miles, I think, from Spokane. So it's still kind of in the middle of nowhere. So it just makes it a little bit harder for different places to eat and go out and do stuff as easily. Maybe some of those people up around that area in Spokane probably can give you more insight on it, but it didn't look like it was a possibility for a full 80 table event or 120 table event. Unless majorly down the road. But anyways, so there was that. And Bill Henderson, if you want to add any more to that, you're welcome to.
Well, yes, half of their event center is upstairs and they have no freight elevator. That is the main issue.
So we're ruling it out as an event location is kind of the bottom line. But we
Yeah.
are, just shows our intent to see what we can do going forward.
Or what other
Can I
options?
interrupt just really quickly? I'm so sorry. Darren, are you recording?
You know what? I don't think I am. I guess, Nikki, are you recording?
Yeah, I believe I am. I hit record a while ago.
So I allowed you to record earlier. I'm gonna hit record as well.
Let's
I have
just
to
make
get-
sure we're recording.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Sorry to
So is it-
interrupt. I
yeah,
just
it
Well,
wanted
does
I'm
to
say-
glad you're
interrupt.
asking because I had hit that and then it doesn't look like it was recording after I hit it. But
Well, we're
it's for sure recording now. Sorry about that, guys. Got their hand raised right now too.
Well, let's let Tammy finish her statement and then she can address whoever's
Okay.
As far as vice president statement, I guess pretty much there's not a lot. However, can I go ahead and say tournament registrar side too?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
whatever
I'm
you
here.
got.
Okay. So I will have the players information sheet out to everybody here very shortly for October. Along with the dates and hopefully within probably 2 weeks that maybe we'll be able to start doing entries online. So we'll definitely is going to start moving that way. Anyways, I also need to know if all the prices and everything for the entry fees, green fees, deal, the above, is that going to be the same as last October?
I believe so. I haven't heard anyone talk about raising them.
Caps.
Is there caps we're gonna be having out real soon too, I believe.
Okay. I guess and then that's it.
Okay, just a quick statement. Does anybody feel we should be raising our entry fees? Is there anyone who wants to pay higher entry fees or green fees?
Yes.
Excellent. Just send us directly. No, I'm just kidding. Anyone else? Okay, it seems like the majority don't want the fees increased. So yeah, I think we'll definitely leave them. Just try
Hey,
to,
Darren,
yeah,
one thing we could also propose is optional side pots in each bracket that wouldn't be required for entry, but they could just be like an additional fee that would pay out to the highest paying members that are contributing to the side pot. So if people wanted to add additional money to the pots, that's an easy way to do it as well.
yeah, we'd need to get the computer set up for that, and I have not done that. I didn't know you were gonna say that. So I can explore the technical computer side of that, and maybe we can have that in place by March. But yeah, I never thought of that. I apologize, or I don't apologize, I just never thought of it, so. But good suggestion. Just out of curiosity, besides Stephen, who else is interested in side pots? Dave raised his hand. Is there enough demand, do you guys think?
Izzy, Lawrence, Christie.
I think there is enough demand. I think you'll find out that a lot of the other players will probably find it. I guess the increase in competition, increase in competitiveness when it comes to those additional side pots. Me and Steven would talk about it at our last meeting. And I think it'll be a good way of showing some of the other members that possibly increasing the entry fee for a side pot might actually be easily answered without actually asking a question.
Yeah. Well, I just worry if it's built into the application path to sign up for a tournament, that people might accidentally click the button and join the sign pot, not mean to, and then get a refund, and then now we're making tournaments registration complicated.
Either that, we can just do a sign up at the coast.
We could just do an opt-in as a check mark and no money, and then you pay at the coast. That would be ideal. So if the money doesn't move, if you want to join a side pot, you put a thing next to your email it. That yes, please send me information about side pots, and then you'd get an email from whoever's leading the side pot stuff. So that might be.
We just have to have confirmation done before the tournament draws out so that no one can cherry pick any brackets. And also, this would be a nice way, like in the elite division where we have a Calcutta, this would be a way that players could add a little bit of additional money into the pot itself, but still have full control of the money themselves without worrying about how the Calcutta goes. So it would be a completely separate entity from Calcutta in the elite division.
Well, we would need someone to be the leader of that. So if I have a leader to take that on, let me know. And I'll work on the computer nerdy side of it.
And Eileen says that I think many of the league would be interested in side pots.
Okay.
When was the last time the prices went up on this one?
I think for our tournaments, we raised them right before COVID, and then we kind of canceled a couple tournaments. So these prices we've been paying post-COVID are basically the last time our stuff was raised.
And Joni's had her hand raised for a while too.
All right, Joni, what's on your mind?
I just agree with Tammy about the Coeur d'Alene Casino. It's not going to work. But I do have a question. Whatever happened to Wild Horse?
They're no longer interested in presenting us with the contract. They've had some management changes. We had the whole management team on board, and after COVID, they had a whole change of people, and we lost a little of our influence there.
Also, the fact is that they are wanting to build their second tower prior to the bigger convention room. And so we would be split 40 and 40. And they were using a lot of that area for, I guess, bringing construction stuff in or whatever. So it just keeps being pushed away, pushed back.
I think as soon as they get all their improvements done, we should consider approaching them again. But for the short term, they'd be ruled out. Okay, so let's see. Next on the agenda, sorry. is treasurer's statement. If there's any questions on Jackie's statement that was emailed out to you, oh, go ahead, Ray. Oh, I see.
I just had glossed over very quickly and very rapidly. I wanted to know how and why this decision came to replace Steve as tournament head official.
Okay. Tammy, you want to address that? You want me to? Can't hear
Go
you.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, there had been lots of problems through the last several events. And I don't feel like it's appropriate to give a detailed list of problems to this people. I will send a list to the board for their review. And if they want to talk about them at the next meeting, they can, but I'm not going to say negative things about someone because I think
No, it
that's-
wasn't so much about Steve. It's just the whole, how did, and this is nothing against Dave. I don't know him from Adam. How was that decision made?
Tammy made the decision to choose Dave.
Fair enough. Okay, and that's fair enough. And again, nothing against Dave. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I have nothing bad or anything to say about him, and nothing against Stephen Weekly. I think he's doing an amazing job as chairman of the board. But in light of all of this, I resign from everything. I'm done. I'm out.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
I think that this deserves a little bit more talk of why that just happened. Because I have no idea. And if I'm on the board and I should be aware of something, I am not, and neither is anyone else on the board that's been having conversations. So I'm really curious of what just happened right there.
What happened with why Ray quit?
Yeah, well, why
He
why
quit
was
because
there a
I'm removing
change?
Steve.
Well, why was
Marker.
there a change without the board knowing until this meeting right now? And why would Ray just have quit over it?
He's close friends with Steve
Steve who?
Marker.
Marker was the tournament committee head of the tournament.
And I notified Stephen Weekly first thing this morning, so he hasn't had much notice, but I did notify him this morning before I did that. This has been being discussed for over a year and a half. This isn't new information.
Well, it's very new to the board because I was 100% not aware of this. And it
Sure.
might be a great decision. It's just that we are not aware of these decisions. We're in the dark until these meetings where it doesn't matter if we were a board member or if we were just a player rep or we were just watching, that we are unaware of these things.
Point of order. Hello. Picking a head referee or a tournament director is not a board matter at all. So you guys can talk about this later.
Okay.
I'd really
Okay.
like to stay on topic and get through this meeting.
Okay,
And
thank you. Sam.
I applaud that the board is interested in the procedures and they want to know about stuff. And that's great. But we have a meeting and a lot of stuff to get through.
Thank
Please.
you.
Point of order. This is a membership item. This membership runs the association, not one or two or three people.
Well, I disagree. When I replaced several other people in the past, I've replaced Robin Iredale, I've replaced Pam Caraway. I have done that to try to make a better experience for our players. And historically, there's never been any feedback from this group around staffing changes.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
I
cause.
don't know
problems.
anything about Dave Chavez. I don't know him either, but I don't think that we can all, I don't see being able to vote on every member change or committee person. That's, yes, the membership runs it, and maybe there should be more of a discussion on Dave's abilities or how he's able to do that job, but I don't see how we vote on every change like that.
No, the president's assigned by the bylaws to handle the day-to-day operations of the organization. And this is, I picked who leads all different groups and committees. I'm ordered to do so by the bylaws, regardless of what Ed thinks. That's how it is. I don't get a say in it, a choice myself. I just do what I'm supposed to be doing. So, I mean, I don't see it as you know, if Sam can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you guys want to change the policies, procedures, and bylaws, at the beginning of this meeting, I appointed a committee to do that, to work on that. But until then, I'm going to follow the rules this organization laid down for me to follow. I have no choice but to do so. So. All right, we're going to move on. Next up, is there any questions on the treasurer's report? Try to answer questions on the P&L. If not, you can also email
I
Jackie.
have a question.
Sure.
Jackie sent in her report. She also sent in a list of the uncleared checks that she still has.
Thank
I
you.
didn't know if I was supposed to just send that out. I don't know if you want me to name the names now. I don't know.
Yeah, let's name those names. I told her that we would. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't see that. Is it okay?
Yeah, I didn't
I'll
say,
go
I
ahead.
didn't know if I was supposed to send that specific thing out. I just didn't know.
Oh, I don't see it.
privacy, but I didn't. I
No.
didn't send it out. I have it right here.
Okay, that's why I didn't see it. Thank you. So yeah, so let's explain what's going on. From our past events, we have people that fail to cash our checks. And in order to close out our books for each tournament, we're asking that when you win money at our tournament, that you cash the checks. So Julie will read out the names, and if any of you know any of these people, please ask them to email Jackie at treasurer@westernbca.org, and she'll get them a new check to get their check cashed. So if you guys know any of these people that Julie's about to name off, message them, contact them and say, hey, you need to email Jackie at Western BCA to get you a new check issued. Go ahead, Julie.
Okay, we have Sheila Rogers, Patricia Tipton, Jeffrey Treyfry, Dale Hatvan, again, and if I'm killing names, I'm sorry. Sheila Rogers, Joshua White, Harold Dillon, John Gunn, Rita Miller, Kevin Hubbard, Michael Fucci, Rita Miller again, Clifford Maxon, John Kraus, Robert Hoiberg, Jeffrey Mee, Sandra Menzel, Kelsey Joe, Steve Toon, Amy Wilson, Jerry Fedig, Christian Younger twice, Alfreda Amayat, and Luis Alberto.
Thank you. So yeah, if anybody knows any of those folks, have them please email treasurer@westernbca.org, please. Next up, Secretary's statement.
I don't have anything.
Elaine has her hand up.
Oh. Elaine, go ahead, please. Elaine?
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, okay. It said, never mind. I'm wondering, what do the bylaws say? Maybe this is something we can put in the bylaws. How long can we keep a check before we say you can't cash it and now we have to write a new one? That just makes more work. Can an organization say your check must be cashed in X number of days or else, you know?
I think they're only good for 60 or 90 days. Jackie
It's
would know
90
this.
days.
Yeah, but I
Oh.
think it's 90 days.
Okay, so maybe we need to hand something out when we give checks, a little slip that says you have 90 days to cash your check to make it easy, go
It's
to the
written on
casino.
the check.
Yeah,
We
but
actually
maybe they're
do
not
tell them
reading
that.
that.
When we
I'm
write the checks,
sure.
we tell them that too.
Maybe they want to frame it or something, you know? I mean, maybe you ask somebody, are you gonna cash this? And, you know, we'll just make a pretend one. It just seems like a lot of work. That's a long list of names.
No,
I'm
I
surprised
agree.
that they got forgotten.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we just, all we want is people to cash their checks. So, all right, Julie, go ahead.
I don't have anything.
Julie?
I don't have anything.
Okay, I didn't hear you say that, that's all.
Sorry.
Okay. Next item is the proposed event dates for 2025, 6, 7, and 8. These were worked on by the board of directors. And trying to figure out
Well,
the,
you haven't done the board of director report
oh, sorry,
or any of
thank
the
you.
committee chair reports.
Thank you. I'm sorry. The board of directors report. Sorry, I my mouse had scrolled down on the Word document of the agenda. Computer thing. Missed. So go ahead, Stephen Weekly. Thank you.
All right, so for our board of directors report, we discussed then proposed event dates for 2026, 27, and 28. We also proposed event date changes for 2025, which would be pending Chinook Wind's approval and our voting membership ratification. We proposed that the event dates be moved back to get us back into the winter rate window for the hotel. We called around to Verbo, to all of the housing companies, basically, and they really just kind of start creeping their pricing up throughout the month of March. So there's not really a big date change there. So we just focused on the Chinook Winds Hotel date change for that item. We discussed to recommend moving the NFR, which is the no fault refund date, to 3 weeks prior to our event starts. This would make us be able to provide the tournament direction team with their final data 14 days prior to our event, which is in our contract currently. And then we could then require the tournament team to draw and post brackets no less than 5 days after the receipt of the data. So this would allow our players approximately 9 days to finalize their travel arrangements. We've had a lot of complaints recently, last couple of events, about just not having adequate time to prepare travel arrangements prior to the tournament. So this is something we discussed. We've discussed separating the table supply and setup and tournament direction contracts for our events to prevent single point vendor leverage in future contracts. We've discussed creating a code of conduct language to be included in all of our vendor contracts throughout everything. Basically, any vendor that we deal with, whether they be retail vendors, whether they be table vendors, streaming vendors, we're also working on specific streaming requirements that will be helpful and kind of boost our brand and make ourselves a little bit more marketable, trying to seek bigger sponsorship contracts for our association. So we prepared the cost comparison chart for the 2 contending table vendors, which is Bad Boys Billiard Products and CSI. And then using the cost comparison and then all of the relevant information that we could confirm. And I would stress again, we did not consider any information that we did not have on paper. If it's not written down, it did not get considered. So using that, we generated a recommendation that we're going to make to our members to continue with Diamond Tables and Bad Boys Billiard Products as tournament directors at this time, pending the renegotiation of their contract to separate table services from tournament director services as outlined above, and providing language to enforce adherence to our vendor conduct policy, which we are currently creating and will have out soon. As part of the research process for the table recommendation, I spoke to Chad at Diamond Tables, and he reaffirmed his commitment to helping WBCA not only flourish, but expand when possible. He confirmed that he would support WBCA's decision to run our own events, if that's how it worked out in the future, but he would require us to utilize Bad Boys Billiard Products for table supply, transport, and setup. And that's just because he has an established history with them as the caretakers of his equipment. I mean, he lets us use $300,000 worth of tables for free. We just have to pay setup and maintenance, and you know, it's a good deal. It's hard to argue that. So lastly, we are exploring the viability of WBCA running our own events in-house. This would allow for the use of CTS on demand, which is administered by CSI, which would provide our players with a familiar platform and continuity with other BCA run event data. It would also allow the use of expanded tournament formats such as group play, which could greatly benefit our elite division, actually all of our elite divisions, as each entrant would be guaranteed a larger number of matches for their entry fee. That's just something that we've been talking about, just anything to try to build the elite division, and group play seems like it'd be a a good format to explore. So at this time, all that discussion is ongoing. We don't have really anything to present. We're still just, trying to flesh out the details. So that concludes the board report.
Any questions on that, you guys?
Can I say something really quick, Stephen? And I know we talked this morning and I totally forgot to talk about this, but did we want to talk about the NFR date and looking at that, or is that something that even needs to be talked about now, or is that just something that's handled in a committee?
I had actually mentioned the NFR dates in the
Oh,
board
I'm
report
sorry.
here.
I missed it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the whole point of handling, possibly moving the NFR date back, it would make it to where the players would basically just have longer time to prepare for their trips. Right now the issue we're
All
having
could
is
be done
sometimes, yeah, sometimes the brackets don't come out until a day or two before the tournament starts, and it's hard for people to make final plans and preparation to go down to Lincoln City. So the way that we would have it set up is to try to encourage whoever our tournament team is to have the brackets out earlier, say 8-9 days ahead of time, so that people could finalize travel arrangements if they had to, take any extra time off of work or anything like that, and just generally kind of help streamline their cost savings for the project, for the job.
Okay, any further questions?
I guess there's a couple of questions in the chat I need to look at real quick. So
They must be coming straight to you too. How, I don't know if this is directly up to you or not, but it says we can't get enough volunteers as it is. So this is Michelle Jensen. How are we going to find players who will run the regional tournaments? And then Michelle says, you can't have brackets done until all entries have been received. And those are the only comments that I see in chat right at the moment.
So at the last event, we were actually turning away volunteers from our positions.
This meeting is being recorded.
And basically moving forward, what we're looking at as far as a viability of concept is we would need to try to put together some sort of package and make volunteering at the tournaments part of our volunteer network, which people can use to get a free hotel room. So that's the things that we're looking at right now. And that's why we're really not discussing it too much at this point, is until we have a viable plan. It's just not, same thing, it's not on paper. So at this point, it just doesn't exist. We're still just in process.
Volunteers is a huge part of the discussion right now.
Volunteers are actually the major part of the discussion. That everything else pretty much got worked out. It's just a consistent way to keep volunteers and maintain the quality of the programs that we run.
Michelle, you asked are we going to do away with late entries? No.
I'm trying to fix that, sorry.
It's not doing away. Am I?
Now
you guys-
there's somebody's
Yeah, I
two
got
devices
that.
and one's not muted. And I'm trying to figure out which one. Okay, I did mute all, unmute yourself, Julie, and that might fix
Okay.
the problem.
Michelle, to answer your question, it's not doing away with late entries.
Okay,
And
it's Bill.
it's the no fault refund that we're talking about. The no fault refund will go back, will go a little sooner. So late entries will still be happening. You just won't be able to do a no fault refund the week before the tournament. And that's the only question other I see on there.
Can I say something about some of this? So, no. Anyways, I'd like to, so as far as no fault refunds, usually we've done it for like the week prior to the event. It would go all the way up till then. And in order to get it 14 days prior to the event, I mean, there's just no way, because you're giving refunds and taking those off of the brackets and that kind of stuff, that it has to be, I would say more like 2.5 weeks would be the total absolute cutoff for it. 2.5 weeks prior to the first day of the event, and yeah, and then usually it would be, say, a week of no fault refunds coming in, and then that's, yeah, and then before is just all the entries. So, and there would still be late entries, which is usually going to be a week and a half to 2 weeks worth of late entries is all.
I mean, one thing this is why I just proposed as discussion. We've just been discussing it. The biggest reason that we're looking at is that we're looking at
Hold on. Hey, Bill. You have two devices at the same time, and when you unmute yourself and the other one's still playing sound, it's making it like you have to turn down the volume on the first device. You can only have one device having sound. If not, that's why I keep muting you, is because it is making it. You can hear everything twice. Is it possible to just have one device? Okay, like we can't even have you unmute at all. Because you can't hear yourself anyways. Okay, sorry about that, guys.
Okay, so Tammy, the reason that we're discussing that is because in our current contract with Bad Boys, we are actually required to give them the data no less than 2 weeks ahead of time. And so that's something that if we're gonna be requiring them to turn over, within 5 days, the drawn brackets so that people can have the time to make their travel plans, then we need to ourselves have time to be able to get the data to them in the promised timeframe.
And I totally agree with that.
So moving forward, what we're going to recommend with this code of conduct policy, it's going to be reciprocal, right? Because there's things that we're going to expect of all of our vendors, but we're also going to expect ourselves to live up to our own contracts. And so in order to, it's got to just have reciprocity. So that's one thing that we're looking at doing, just to allow ourselves to be put into a better position to meet our own contracts.
Are you talking, Tammy? Okay.
That concludes the board report.
All right. So next item is unfinished business. The bylaws changed to allow voting for officers. I'll have Elaine speak briefly about where she's at on the committee that is getting started to do electronic voting. Elaine Eberly, please.
Yeah, so first I'll apologize. I had some family issues I was dealing with. So I finally got my button gear. Thank you, Julie, just yesterday. And I've contacted the members, which are yourself, Darren, Nikki, Michael Hall, Julie, Kelly McMinn, Tracy with 2 eyes, and myself. And we're arranging to have a Zoom meeting, and we will keep you posted so that we can keep this meeting moving along. That's it.
Thank you. Perfect. Next item under new business is the amended item of motion.
I'm sorry, Darren. There was some question on that, on when you first made the committee on April 16th, you had Elaine and Mike Hall as co-chairs. But I don't think Mike Hall was aware of that. And I don't know if Elaine was aware of that. So I don't know if that's still the case. Are they co-chairs or is Elaine the chair?
I'm fine with it if Michael wants to do that. I know he's got some personal stuff going on as well, unfortunately. So I'll let Michael answer for himself. I don't see him here today.
I don't think he's here today, but maybe
Yes,
we can.
I'll contact him.
Get back to us.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to
I'll
put out
contact him.
there that was happening.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is a motion, the amended item of adding a motion or something to add women's events to regionals. Nancy Meeser. Nancy, do you have a second to talk about why you'd like to add women's events to our regional events?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of an old thing. We've always had women's divisions before, and then all of a sudden they kind of disappeared. I've listened to people talk recently on Facebook, and I don't think anybody is wanting to bring them back except me. So at this point, I just don't see going forward with it because of lack of people being interested.
Okay, do you want to withdraw the motion? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Sam, can you hear me? Do I need anything else to withdraw this motion other than Nancy's desire?
Done.
Do I need a vote of anything? Sam or Beto? I don't think I need a vote.
No, you don't need anything. If she's withdrawing the motion and the agenda item, it's not a motion, it's an agenda item. If she's withdrawing the agenda item, it drops.
Correct. All right, want to make sure. All right. Next up is the proposed dates. Nikki, were you able to share the email attachment that I just sent you to your screen?
Oh, let's.
I am the
go.
host. I'm no longer the host and can't do so like I planned.
Oh, it doesn't let you, here, you know what, I just can make you, it don't, this is a
That's okay. You
weird.
go ahead. I got other stuff too, so it's okay. I
Okay,
have it up on my screen.
while I'm opening it right now, Nancy, I like your idea too. I just feel like we're so far away from that right now that it's hard to get those women back and enough of the field to be able to run it. Oh, okay, please share this on your screen. Oh, here it comes. Okay. Okay. Let's share my screen. We're going to share the email. And shrink love. Okay, so is this what we're sharing? Just the
Yeah, but
dates?
couldn't click on the attachment and make it full screen because it's kind of, yeah. There you go. All
And I
right,
can
so
probably-
hopefully everybody can see, whoops.
Ooh, oh, I can really.
It's okay, there we go.
Perfect.
These are the dates I'm told that the Board of Directors is recommending for 2025, 26, 27. I don't know why we're picking 28. The casino's not ready to offer us 28 yet. So we can pick them, but the casino, I can ask if we can have them, but they originally only offer us 3 years.
Let's call that a bonus year.
Yeah,
So,
we're,
thanks for the extra year. If I can get it for you guys, I'm all for getting it. I just,
That's what it said on the agenda, so.
well, if they give it to me, I'll ask for it. I have no problem asking for it. All they can say is no. We're not ready to do that yet, but they're ready to do 3 more years. So, Steve, you want to talk briefly about how these were selected and the mindset around, March and our mindset around October dates?
The October dates, we basically just stuck around the same time that we're traditionally holding our events. The March dates were moved back to try to accommodate our events to be held in the winter rate session. It's just a cheaper time for all of the housing providers around there. Typically, the earlier we can go in March, the better the rates are going to be. And then Chinook Winds traditionally is looking like about March 18th or March 19th for their switch over into their summer rates. So we're trying to get as much of the event or all of it if possible to take place before their switch over. It's basically just to save our members as much money as we can, ease some travel costs to these events.
What was the calculation into October's dates is the part I'm curious about.
We just picked dates that were focused around the same time frame. It's like I want to say it's the second week in October, and then it runs into the weekend.
Did we worry about hunting season or any of that, or was that an issue, or are we into hunting season? I admit I don't hunt, so I don't know.
We didn't take that into a lot of consideration because it doesn't affect a lot of the members. But there again, these are the proposed dates that we're submitting, and it will need to be ratified so that we can have discussion on it ahead of time. but it's the same type as scheduling around the national event. We didn't really look at the national event too much except for table supply and availability, because we don't have a lot of members traveling to nationals in relation to our overall body. So it's the same type of thing. We just didn't really take hunting season into consideration, as it doesn't affect a large percentage of our population of members.
Okay, so Nikki, would you start taking names of who wants to speak on these dates, and let's start going through the list of names who'd like to discuss these dates?
Yep, to start with, Michelle says, these dates look great and thanks so much for doing this for the players. And Tammy C is, I'll ask you to unmute. It's the only one with her hand up.
Tammy Conabear?
Yes.
Oh, Tammy Conabear.
So my question is this dependent on how we vote via the tables?
No.
It's not really dependent on the tables. Most of these times should be available either way. We did look at the national availability in case we wind up going with the Predator tables, because they would have to come from nationals. We don't have our own dedicated set of tables. So we did take that into consideration. And I spoke with Ozzy via email to confirm the approximate timeframes that we could expect tables after nationals. And he confirmed that basically the first 74 tables that they would remove from the nationals field would be packaged and sent right to us. So we should not have any issues. The only possibility that could be a problem would be like going over the pass. If there was extreme weather conditions, that could affect the transport time.
Thank you.
And then now Carly has her hand up also.
Hi, I just had a couple of questions. One, it looks like 2027 does compete with Worlds, but is that not a concern for everyone? You say that just a minimal part of the body plays in Worlds, but I know a lot of people that I know go to Vegas as well. So that would create a conflict. And I usually play in both. So I was wondering, is there any data to support how many people actually play in both events?
Between 100 to 200, depending. I mean, we can only get the state of where they're from, like Oregon, Washington, Idaho. But we count the number of people from those states. And it's ranged from 75 to 150 roughly is my guess.
Okay.
I counted the most recent one. I counted in the years past.
The biggest reason we chose those dates is so the other 2,000 players that come to the main event, however many players there was, when they're coming to our Lincoln City event, they're not paying summer rates, which is way more expensive for everybody that's coming to our Lincoln City event.
Okay, and
These
then
are actually the dates that we originally historically have always had. And then when Aussie and Worlds changed their dates, we had to change ours in order to get the tables and do all that. This is basically going back to the dates that we used to do historically for the last 20 some years. But I'm looking, Stephen, and I think that some of these dates would cause the March dates would cause a problem with us getting tables from if Worlds is using them.
yes, I see that. I mean, like I said, the 27th dates are overlapping. And then also one other question I had was, do we have any data on, I mean, in my experience, and I'm not saying I have a vast amount of experience, but we usually do a vacation rental like Airbnb, VRBO, or direct. And the rates tend to be higher in March, the first week in April, and then tend to go back down in the second week of April because they go up during spring break. So I'm wondering, do we have any data on how many people actually stay at the Chinook Winds Hotel? Any data on vacation rentals going up or going down after spring break? Do we, and if
generally go up for summer rates, they may be a little higher for spring break, but they don't go back down to winter rates after spring break. They're still higher in the summer, the spring and summer than they are in the winter.
And are you speaking of Chinook Winds or vacation rentals as a whole?
Rentals as a whole.
Okay.
And not just Chinook Winds Hotel, other hotels. We contacted other hotels in looking into this because we know not everybody stays at Chinook Winds.
Right, right.
Because we also discussed trying to maybe get Chinook Winds to change the rates for us for the dates that were there, but not everybody stays there.
Right, okay. Like I said, just in my experience, the second week in April tends to go down a little bit. Like even when we were here last week, or I'm sorry, last year, or I guess it was this year, 2023, we paid higher rates for the first, I think, 6 days that we were there, and then our rates went down after that. That's all.
As
That's
far as
interesting.
Because those
the,
dates were weekend dates, they weren't regular dates. Those are weekend dates, and that's why you got the lower rates throughout the week.
We actually stay 2 weekends. We stay Friday to Sunday. Is what we generally come in for. So we did get 2 weekend rates.
and as far as the table availability goes, when I had sent this to Darren, it was based on the idea that the final selection of dates would have to follow the table selection choice. Because obviously if we go with diamond tables, then there's absolutely no conflict. If we go with the predator tables, then we would just need to take a harder look at this and probably a little bit more communication just to verify table availability. But at this time, it does not look like it would be a huge conflict as long as we can get the first tables that leave nationals.
And interesting that you say that, Carly, because when we were calling all of these hotels, we were calling multiple hotels and the rental place, and they were just saying spring rates go up at that point. They weren't saying after spring break, there's a lull. None of them mentioned that they do that.
Yeah, I don't know why they would mention it. Obviously, they want you to pay peak rates, but I just in my experience, that's what I was saying. And I did talk to several of them, and we've rented houses there. We've gone for the last 10 years. And also, same thing in, wherever you go, rates go up for spring break across the country.
I will also tell you, Carly, that basically, as with all the input and decisions that we've been trying to come up with as the BOD, we're basing all of our data on what is going to be the best for the largest percentage of our members that attend. And there's unfortunately probably going to be a few conflicts here and there, but by and large, what we're proposing should on paper be the best for the largest percentage of members.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sam had a comment that 2027 and 2028 will have a conflict because we won't have any refs.
Are they at the exact same time?
So one thing is we also have a referee training program that's currently going right now. And by 2027 and 2028, there should be additional refs available.
Okay, 27 and 28, there's just no way that we should be doing those. We shouldn't be conflicting with nationals in any way, shape, or form. There's too many people.
Nationals is conflicting with us.
That go with both. It doesn't matter, but 27 and 28, we can't do that.
So should we do like a week earlier? Because the problem is if we go
Really
too
would be
early,
during
then
their
there's
event.
We can't do a week earlier. That's during their event.
Yes.
But I mean, this is the whole point.
Oh, okay,
We can't go around them. If we go weeks later, then our members are paying twice as much for their lodging. And that's what was all being discussed is the players want to get back out of summer rates.
Bob has his hand up.
Okay. I haven't missed Scotch doubles in 15 years besides being in Knoxville. So 15 years, 20 years. I don't know, something like that. I would vote totally no on 27 and 28. And there's one other person in here that would vote no on 27 and 28 on the dates. 25 and 26 are great.
This wasn't, I just want to say, this wasn't a problem we created. This is trying to make the best thing for our players. This problem was created when Nationals decided to change their events that coincided and conflicted with ours. So
Right.
not missing it, I understand that, but then choices are gonna have to be made, and I don't think all of our members should be paying twice as much for lodging because this situation that we were put in, not by our choice, by Ozzy's choice, not ours.
Can I say something real quick? You are absolutely right, Julie. I was in the meeting, part of the board at the time. I was strictly opposed to letting CSI dictate when we could play and when we couldn't. And it's the benefit for all members. You're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars when you got 700-800 people going to an event and you're trying to save 10-15,000 per event while your players are spending, another 100 or 200,000 more. Doesn't make any sense. The beauty of this is if we stay with Diamond, you're no longer going to have a conflict. It's over. It's done. And the people that went to both events will have to make a decision which one they go to. But we have to do what's best for the majority of our players. And I don't like being under the control of CSI like we were in the past because we had to wait to use their tables. And now they're gonna try to do it again. And I don't like it. So, but what's best for the people and what saves the most money is Diamond tables and not being controlled when we can run our event by CSI, period. Like you said, Julie, we'll save a lot of money in the amount that we have to pay for staying at Lincoln City. So I'm done.
Do you mind if I say something to that, please? I think people would be remiss not to remember that it's this voting body that agreed to dual sanction with CSI, and as such, we should be duty bound not to conflict with them because we are the ones requiring all of our players to be a CSI member to play in our events.
They
And
conflicted with us.
I understand that they picked their dates first. There's a whole calendar for us to choose from. We could go in February if we had to. I don't like it, but we could.
Anybody from the east side is anywhere Spokane and on is probably not gonna like the February dates. Wouldn't that be a problem?
Well, same problem we'll have by pushing the later October events could possibly have bad weather if they get later October, but that's not for certain.
Instead of February, it is definitely going to be a travel issue. Because we have winter, I mean, this year we had it all the way into April.
So Joni, do these dates look good? If we were not looking at nationals and people are coming from the east side, Idaho and that area, are these dates sufficient? Are these the best dates, the furthest out before spring rates start for that side of our members?
The March dates are acceptable. It's borderline whether, the travel is really bad or not, because it just seems that each year it goes more into the spring with our winters, which, there's nothing we can do about it. We literally got buried this year. So traveling even in April could have been a challenge. Fortunately, we had a little brief reprieve.
I mean, the bottom line is we can't schedule dates that work for everybody is consistently our problem. I mean, that seems to be a persistent challenge.
And Lawrence has his hand raised.
Lawrence, go ahead, please. Lawrence?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm here. My question is, has anybody actually talked to Ozzy about them moving their dates back? They're the ones that made the statement that they would eventually.
Yes.
And he's the one that values us somehow as a partner and
Yeah.
wants us. So he should be the one, if anybody's contacted, I just want to know if anybody's asked him or not.
Yes, I've talked to him at least 5 or 6 times about this issue. It's a frequent topic over the last year and a half. I expressed before he picked his dates to not conflict with us. He understands and knows that we don't want him conflicting with what we'd like, which is somewhere in the first 20 days of March. He's telling me that the year that he got pushed back in March was because of the Super Bowl, and he can't get a facility in Vegas because of the Super Bowl that year. I have to admit, I never considered the Super Bowl as a thing to do with our dates, but that's what affected his decision, and he had no choice. It's not like he sits around and tries to conflict with us. He understands.
They have their dates on their website through 2030, and they are all into our dates, February 24th through March 6th, February 23rd through March 4th, February 28th through March 10th, February 20th through March 2nd. That's listed on their website as upcoming events.
Thanks, Julie. Mike, that's my question. That's my point, is that he had made the statement at least twice now in our meetings that he values us, and it's clear that's not the case. And that's all I have.
I don't see that. I think he's limited to what his casino host can provide him as well. Yeah, that's my take on it. I don't think it's an intentional thing.
Arlen's got his
We're
hand up.
limited as
too.
well to what the casino wants. It isn't what you guys want. We're gonna end up doing what you want as long as the casino agrees. If the casino says no to whatever you guys vote, your choice will be have no tournament or change your date. And I'm assuming you'd like a casino to have the event at. So, yeah, we have the same challenges.
And Arlen
Who
has
else?
his hand up too.
Is there any, Arlen?
I've been a part of this organization since, I don't know, 99. So some of you people have been in, been out. I've been here a lot. We've had tournaments in February all the way through now and up into April. But our dates always have been in March until Ozzy stepped in and decided to change his sanctioning year when he took over CSI. Worlds, nationals, whatever you all want to call it nowadays, was always in the summer. It was in July. It was hotter than hell in Vegas. So they decided to move it where it was cooler on top of us. Remember that. If he's such a valued partner to us and we're so important to him, why did he tell us when we could have our tournament years past? This is turning into a CSI type run, and I don't really appreciate it being a member of this organization for so long, being told by someone from the outside what we can and can't do. Ding, ding, ding. You know, it's turning into a, well, we'll just push you off until we want to. No, if we're so big and important to you, because I don't know a tournament on the West Coast bigger than ours. If anybody knows one, chime in.
Worlds in Vegas and APA for BCA and APA is the two biggest.
What he was saying.
Besides nationals, Darren, there's not a bigger regional event
Correct. You are
than
correct.
us. So barring that, why would we have to succumb to his, let's see what he wants? We've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing it longer than he's been in CSI at this point, that I understand. So that's the 2 cents. Why should we decide to bend over for them?
Thank you
And
for the feedback.
Mike D is next.
Thanks. I just thought this was an appropriate time to just to ask and to receive a quick little answer. What do we receive from CSI? What does Western BCA players receive for being associated with CSI? Thank you.
We receive access to LMS and Fargo Rate. LMS is the system that runs all of our leagues. We are entitled to access to CTS on demand if we run our own tournaments. We also, our players get access to BCAPL Worlds. I believe those are the primary benefits. There's a list of other little ancillary benefits on their website. Things like car rental stuff. And I mean, there's a bunch of little ones on their website. You're free to go look at them, but those are the main ones.
So not much. Can we all agree as people that that's not much? I mean, can we all just agree to that? I don't think that's a huge statement or putting your neck out or going out on a limb to say, wow, that's not much.
That's in,
Okay, I'll walk
every
away
single
now.
league operator relies on CSI with all their leagues. So the entire Western BCA Association is made up of the league operators. To say that they don't offer much is ridiculous.
Mike Jensen, I know you're there. Is that true, sir? That we need CSI to have Western BCA? One of the Jensens should speak up.
Mike Jensen is not here.
We need league software to run the Western BCA, Mike, respectfully. We must have league software to run our organization.
Okay, and then Sam was next.
I think he already went.
Doug Gibb, I'm also here. Thurston County 540. It appears, I know this is a personal topic, and as a former league operator, as a player, I appreciate everything that everyone does. But it seems it's getting a little bit personal, a little bit off topic. The point is right now that we have players that attend both. We have referees that attend both. It's a tough spot, but that seems to be what we should vote on. Do we lean with going to different dates? Do we lean away from it and put referees in a tough spot? That's it. It shouldn't be about who we care about most or who we think respects us most. That is not relevant at this time. So it seems like this is, to me anyway, this is the choice we need to make, and these are the votes that we need to have. Done.
Well said. Who's next, Nikki?
Steve Marker.
I was at the meeting that we had when Ozzy was here wanting to change the dates. And the real reason that was intimated to us during the meeting was the casinos were having trouble with the heat down in Vegas. And that was the real big reason why they wanted to change in the first place. So Arlen was very correct in what he turned around and said. And that's what Ozzy came to us specifically for. And the meeting was at the steakhouse and the casino.
Thank you. Who's next, Nikki?
That's all that has their hand raised. Is there anybody else that wants to?
Ed Slade and Suzanne Mackey.
So the overlap here is one day. And it's basically their event finishes on 3/6 and our fun day is on 3/5. I mean, how is this such a huge problem? Don't the referees have say on what their schedule is in Worlds? Can't they say, hey, I need Saturday off? I mean, it's teams, but I mean, you got 100 referees over there. I mean, this doesn't really seem like the overlap is that big of a problem. That's all I got.
Who's next, Nikki?
I don't see any more hands up. Who did you say the other person was, Julie, that you saw?
Suzanne Mackey.
Thank you.
Suzanne, unmute your
So,
phone.
yeah, so I think we also need to keep in mind that we've expanded our dates too. It's not just CSI versus Western BCA. When I started this league, I started it with Nationals and with Western in mind. We say that we're moving the dates so that we can address the cost issues for the majority of the players. Yet, and I'm not trying to complain, I'm just throwing it out there. Yet those of us that are coming from quite some distance are having to deal with weather, which means we're adding extra days to our time too. So I think we all need to be adults rather than trying to nitpick and try and work this out. So that's just my 2 cents, but we've expanded our dates too. So keep that in mind.
Expanded our dates?
Yeah, I mean, we've added days to it. When I first started this, we weren't going for 10 days. We weren't. So we've expanded our dates. And we just need to keep that in mind too. Thank you.
Who's next, Nikki?
I don't see, there's some comments in chat about, let's see, starting with, is Fargo rate exclusive to CSI?
It's
Darren.
access to general public can purchase it. If you're not an APA or BCA member, you can go buy you can use Fargo rate on your own. You have to buy the app for $15, but anybody in the world could pay $15 and use the app. That's what they mean.
Okay, great. And then Michelle says Bad Boys is going to have software soon by the October regionals. And then Tammy says LMS, Fargo, and scoring software are critical to Western BCA and our tournament format. Lots of people like that. We can't see who's talking. Jim Roberts says, okay. And then, but are they exclusive to CSI? No, like he just said that we could download it and pay money and have that. That's what my understanding was of what Darren just said. And then there were no fun days. He's asking about the fun days. Oh, there was no fun days back in the old days. Is that what you mean by that?
That's where it was expanded.
Okay. Yes, he says yes. Okay. So what did you think, Suzanne, what do you think, especially if you're coming from weather and traveling, do you have better dates in mind that you think that we should be considering? Because we are trying to come up with the best solution for everybody.
I think even moving them out a week would be great, but you know, I don't know what Chinook Winds is willing to do, but even moving them out a week, we're still not conflicting we may be conflicting at the end for the spring break dates, but we're not conflicting with spring break if we and the rates if we just move it out even 1 week.
I think that this right now, I think these they end, we were trying to make it end either the day that the spring rates started or the day before, but we were trying to push it out as absolute far as we could before the spring rates.
But you're pushing it out for the whole event. You're not pushing it out for how many people come for the whole event. And I will tell you, I've come for the whole event for 15 years, other than this last year. And it's gotten longer and longer and longer. So as far as the rates for us, it just makes more sense for us to push it out a week and maybe not do one of the events, maybe not do the Scotch, maybe not do the, because if we're looking at the peak winter times of traveling, you got the whole eastern half that is going to have an issue with that. And if you want to exclude us, great. We'll just move maybe hopefully we can look at another venue for other events. But
well, what would you like us
looking at just the western side?
What you're saying is we're going to be excluding you because it's snowing a month earlier.
No.
And then if we push it out later, we're excluding you because you said you can't come the whole time because it's way more expensive.
No, that's not what I said.
We're excluding you because of Vegas. So which part of it are we excluding you from? Because I'm really trying to find the best. I want to make everybody happy as much as I can. And I'm not hearing which dates that means for you to be able to come to the whole thing.
I'm not saying that moving it back a week would preclude us from coming. I'm just saying, can't we figure this out? So if you want to have the dates that you have, that's fine. We just don't know on this side whether or not we'll be able to make it for the whole event. Where in the past I've had 80 plus players that have come every event, and plus all their families. So, and that's the other thing, a lot of them will take time off because closer to spring break, because they want it as a vacation too. So just, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to cause conflict. I'm just saying, couldn't we consider some other options rather than excluding them at this point?
Okay, I will say one thing, my job is to try to give the casinos some tentative dates to get on their calendar. If for some reason we wanted to move a 2028 date a week forward or a week later, as long as the casino allows, we could do so in the future. We do need to, our only duty and responsibility is to give our most trusted partner some dates to put on their calendar to hold the room for us. I'd like to think they're written in stone, but deep down, as long as the casino can change them, they will, if they have no other events booked alongside them. I think I do agree with trying to get them in the March 1st through 20th timeframe. I do think people should consider that we are pretty full right now. I won't say we're all the way full, but when we did have one tournament in the early March timeframe that was so full that we had people complaining we were too full. So that's my only fear about the earlier dates. That's the only negative that I can see. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
And Lawrence is the next on the list.
Lawrence, go ahead.
I just want to address the referee thing. That shouldn't be an issue because Dwayne Payne said in our Facebook page that, let me read it so I don't get it wrong. It won't bother the refs. I'll make it work. That's it.
That's awesome. Stephen Weekly's next on the list.
I just wanted to point out, so as far as the players that are coming from out of town that would have to deal with potential weather issues, it's gonna still probably wind up being cheaper to say take a break halfway through your trip over, pay for an extra hotel night, leave a day early. You're still gonna wind up saving money in the long run based on the rate difference of the rooms, just from what we saw. So that's something to consider as well. It's not really excluding, but it may add an additional travel day. But by and large, it's still gonna benefit most of the membership, and it's still gonna financially benefit those members that choose to come from farther away. That's all I have.
And
All
then
right,
there's nobody
let's
else
move
on the
forward.
list.
Is anyone else, Nikki? We got to move forward. We got to.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah.
These dates, until we had to change our dates, this was when we had our tournaments in March. These were the dates that we came to. Some of these dates, we can't, if we push them back a week, we will be in the summer rates. Some of them, like Nikki said, some of them, the last weekend are actually in the summer rates. So if we move them, we're moving it completely to summer rates. That's it.
Thank you. And for what it's worth, we've been in the summer rates the last several tournaments, is my understanding, and we've had successful tournaments. I know it's less than ideal. I agree that it's less than ideal to be in the summer rates. But I will say we've been successful either way. And that should at least be considered a little bit. All right, so I'd really like to leave this meeting with some dates for the casino. I think it's important. They're waiting on us. I don't want anybody else booking dates before us. They give the Western BCA first dibs on dates, but that doesn't mean we get to wait forever and pick our dates. So I think the best bet would be to take them one at a time. There's too many on there and too many opinions to try to vote all these dates in at once. So
before you go to a vote, Darren, there's two more people in this meeting that, first of all, can you, PJC 000, I don't know who that is. Tom Fulton was added and nobody told me. So has anybody else added anybody else?
Nope, just the Tom one. I didn't realize the other one did, but somebody was talking when they were going. I wrote it down, but I hadn't told you, sorry.
So I don't know who PJC 000 is. I don't know if they're a voting member or not. So I just want to make sure I have my count correct before we do any voting. I sent them a message, but they haven't responded.
Tom Fulton to everyone. I'm good, just listening. Thanks. I don't know. Is that Tom Fulton?
Yeah, no, I have Tom Fulton separately. PJC is I don't know who this is.
In PJC, you will not be allowed to vote until you identify yourself. We got to move the meeting forward, okay? I really want to get to the table issue. It's been kicked down the curb too far, and we got to make decisions. I love the fact that we're a debating, discussing body, but we also have to be a decision-making body, or else nothing gets done. And it's essential that we get stuff done.
If you want to take a vote on something, I need to know who this person is, so I know how many we
He's
have.
forbidden from voting until he identifies himself. He's nobody, he's not there.
And Nancy and Rose are together under Nancy's name.
Unless you want to do all the votes through roll call, I have to know how many voting members are here.
Sam, are you there?
What's up, Darren?
Is there a way to expedite the voting on this and have it kind of just do whatever the voting members want and get this done quickly without going through it all at once? Do we have to go through each date one at a time? What do you think is the best way, efficiency wise and policy wise?
Probably going year by year and doing a vote.
Yeah, that's better than event by event like I was going to do. All right.
Yeah. And currently there's no motion on the floor, correct?
I need to make it, I got to get something to hand to the casino. Can I mean, normally the dates do get ratified, you know, by the voting membership.
Okay. Then ask, somebody just needs to come up with a motion and then we second it from there to let's do 2025.
Can I get a motion from the floor to accept and adopt the 2025 dates as proposed? Stephen Weekly has made that motion. I need a second.
I second. This is Nikki.
Okay, it's been second. Any further debate on 2025 only?
Yes.
No further debate unless you have anyone, Nikki. I'm not seeing the whole field.
I'm not seeing going with the dates as it works. Send them to Schnook.
Okay.
Nope, nothing.
We're speaking about 2025 only. All those abstaining from voting on this issue, please speak up or raise your hand if you've got video turned on your device. Speak up or raise your hand if you're abstaining from accepting the 2025 proposed dates. Got
No.
anybody, Nikki? I can't
I
see
don't.
everybody.
Okay, because I have my screen share up, I can't see all the faces, but no one has raised their hand. And
half of my screens are blank. They just have names, so.
Let me try to get back to the grid view. I think it's
oh,
because
I could do stop share. Oh, there's one. Ryan has their hand up.
stop share for now and let's get the grid back on so we can see if anybody's voting yet.
Okay.
Okay, so I see Ryan's got his hand up to abstain. Anybody else abstaining from accepting the 2025 dates? Anyone else abstaining?
And Suzanne.
Mackey?
I can't see half of these screens. There's not people's pictures.
Who's speaking? I can't hear you.
Julie is speaking.
No, it was someone else. I hear your voice. But go ahead. Go ahead, Julie, and we'll acknowledge.
I have 20 squares of people that don't have their cameras on.
And those 20 people need to speak up verbally and unmute themselves if they wish to abstain. Please speak up and unmute yourself. Right now, I've got 2 abstentions. If I'm wrong, we've got Ryan and Suzanne. Anyone else abstaining? Please unmute yourself and speak up if you're abstaining. Okay, right now I've got 2 abstentions, Julie.
Okay.
All those opposed, raise your hand if you've got video on or speak up if you are opposed.
Doug. Oh, Doug then disappeared.
Okay, so I heard 1 person opposed. Any?
I think you might.
We're gonna wait a minute longer for people to abstain or to be opposed to accepting the 2025 dates.
He's back. Yep, Doug is
Okay,
opposed.
so we got 1 no, 1 against. Yes, Lawrence Frampton, they are waiting on us. I saw your chat message just now.
Okay,
So next up, 2026 dates. Can I get a motion from the floor to accept the 2026 dates? Put them back on the screen for a second, Nikki.
We're
We're gonna go back and forth, okay, Nikki?
Yeah, no problem. There we go.
2026 dates, March 6th through March 15th and October 9th through October 18th.
And this is where we're voting in
accept the-
favor.
Yeah,
first it's abstained.
abstain is first.
Oh,
Okay,
this is
so
the
you,
next
let me
year.
write these down and 10-9 to 10-18. Okay, we can close it. All right, let's get back to the grid view. All those abstaining from accepting the 2026 dates, please raise your hand or speak up. If you are abstaining from voting on it. Oh, did I get the motion from the floor? I'm sorry. I need the motion from the floor.
I
Seth,
motion.
quit laughing, Sam. I heard a motion. Do I get a second? May I have a second?
Second.
I got a second. Okay, so all those abstaining,
From, on the 2026, Suzanne.
2026 dates, all those abstaining from voting on the 2026 dates as presented.
I'll abstain.
One abstention. Anyone else? Last chance to abstain. We'll give you another 15 seconds or so.
Suzanne and Stephanie.
Suzanne and Stephanie. So we got 3 abstentions so far. All right. All those opposed, please raise your hand or speak up. If you're opposed to accepting the 2026 dates as presented, please speak up or raise your hand.
None that I see so far.
Okay, 0 opposed, 3 abstentions. Julie,
Thank you.
may I have a motion?
I am not counting that PJC person in the vote,
He does
so.
not get to vote till he identifies himself. He's not here as far as I'm concerned. You have to tell us who you are. That's a requirement to attend the meeting. Okay, please put up the 2027 dates.
Yep, and Julie, I'm letting in Kathy Stanley right now as I'm opening this back up again.
Okay.
Okay, the dates March 5th to March 14th. For the March event, October 8th through October 17th. Excellent. You can write those down yourself. We can send this out afterwards, whatever. I'll ask Julie to send it out with her meeting minutes. Julie, please do so.
I can put it with the action review too.
Yeah, so may I have a motion from the floor to accept the 2027 dates?
I motion.
Okay, you can stop sharing now. Do I have a second?
I second.
We got a second. All those abstaining, any discussion? On 2027 dates, is there any discussion? Sam, do you have discussion?
Discussion.
Go ahead.
Thurston County BCA had 3 teams play at nationals. I think we need numbers before we just go ahead and vote on overlapping the 2 events, or even giving this body the opportunity to vote to overlap the events.
Okay, the good news is, Sam, we can revisit, especially the future dates, the further out, we can revisit those at future meetings and override this vote. This membership can. So if we vote them in today and we decide, let's do a full analysis. I'm in favor of a full analysis.
I have a question for you then, Darren. The casino wants 3 years worth of dates, correct?
Correct.
What if you only gave them 2? And we revisit the 27th, because there's something else I want to check out, and that it's off topic, so I don't want to talk about it.
All right, I got a motion
We need to vote on this and then revisit them if needed.
At this point,
Right.
procedurally, I have a motion to vote on them. I don't know how we go to a motion to table.
I moved to table
It's already
the
been-
2027.
But I don't have to respond to the original motion.
It's tabled.
Is there a
No, it's
second?
not tabled. If we have a motion for
We
a
have a
vote, you
motion that
can't
was
just
been moved
table
and
it.
seconded.
Yes, you can. That's
Exactly.
exactly what it means.
We have 2 people with
do
questions
it.
too.
would we not have to vote to table that if there's already a motion to vote on it?
Tabling automatically sends it to the table.
If it's seconded.
Oh my
I
God.
second it.
That was Chris
Chris,
Marino.
Chris Moreno, I second it.
I don't think that's correct. If we have a motion on the floor to vote on something, one person can then decide we're not voting on it?
Okay, you look up the Roberts rules then, and you figure it out. Darren, you need to move to the next topic, next agenda item.
Can I say something real
Sam has
quick?
decided.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
If the casino wants 3 years, we would better damn well give them 3 years, and we may have a problem with them. And for two people to sit there and say, well, we can't vote on it now is ridiculous. They've already said we were going to vote. We voted on 2 of the years. You better give them 3 years. I'm telling you.
Well,
They're a big organization, and if that's what the requirement is, you better meet it.
I
Well, they have
think
3 years,
that
24,
because
25,
it's
26.
the furthest out, they'll be okay waiting another 3 months. I think they'll be okay, I think. We'll tell
Either
them-
that or do we throw another date out there?
If
Say,
they're not okay, I'll be calling a special meeting is what I'll be doing. So if they're not okay or there's a problem with this, I will yank this thing right off the table and send out a special meeting announcement. So yeah, I'll protect the casino relationship with Western BCA. I'm very passionate about that, Bob, just like you.
And then Lawrence had a comment also. He has his hand up.
Lawrence, go ahead.
Sam, how many of those 3 teams that are from Thurston County were actually in the overlap based on the tournament?
Sam's shooting a pool ball right now and can't hear you. I see him leaned over a pool table.
Yes, he's away at the moment, but also on the table. If we give a 3rd year to the casino and then we come back and change those dates later, is that also not going to put us in standing with the casino?
That's not gonna harm us. As long as their calendar's open, they're gonna be okay with
As long as
changing.
the calendar's open, and if it's not, we lose our dates, correct?
Yes.
Because it's the furthest year from now, I think we'll be fine. They're only booking 2 years in advance, 2 to 3 years on their calendar.
well,
They're asking for 3 years now so they can start filling in 2025. They're asking us, they're gonna start booking 2025 as soon as we get back to them.
well, right now, we already have 2024 and we've got 2025, 2026 taken care of. There's 3 years.
Well, I can tell you if it's urgent, I'll be calling a special meeting, but I can also request the board to decide issues like this between a meeting. So, if there's an urgent need of the casino, I'm gonna see that their needs are met.
So is Sam still playing pool or not? Can he answer the question?
I don't think he heard it. Please repeat it.
Sam, how many teams of the 3 were still in the finals or in the playoffs when the overlap happened?
Hey, Lawrence, I don't really think that.
That point is mute.
It is because they fly out on Sunday anyways. I mean, the tournament ends on Saturday, but they're gonna fly home on Sunday. So, that really doesn't matter. It's a good question, but
So let's keep this moving along. The 2027 dates are tabled. 2028 dates.
Okay, excuse me. Sam
yeah.
told me to look at Robert's rules. And this says if the motion is not taken from the table by blah, 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 to kill a motion at the time it is tabled requires a 2/3 vote. A majority is required to table a motion without killing it. So we have not voted to table this.
Read that one more time, please.
I'm not killing it. I'm just taking it off of this meeting.
You
It says
alone
a
can table it.
majority is required to table a motion without killing it. So you still have to have a majority to table it without. killing it.
Exactly.
All right, let's,
And before we vote,
So
I just
do
let
we want to
Jackson-
vote as a majority to table that?
I will say, Bill Henderson, real quick. One of the things I need as president from the bylaws, policies and procedures group is a written copy of the Roberts Rules of Orders we follow. I've looked them up, I've read them, and I've seen different interpretations of them. There's all types of books written on them. And it sounds like Julie's reading a different copy or version that Sam read, and that presents a problem for us. So I am okay. I prefer to always follow the will of this body and not my own will or the will of the board. I think we should follow the will of this body. So I'd like to get a vote on whether or not we should table the 2027 dates.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Did you, there's, there's somebody with their hand up. Kamitha, do you want to take that right now, Darren?
Not yet. We're gonna, we had a motion. The motion then got a motion to table got seconded. In order for the motion to table to supersede the previous motion, we have to vote on the motion to table. I think Julie's right. So, is there any discussion on whether or not we should table the motion? Only on tabling is the discussion point, 2027 dates. There's no discussion, we'll move to a vote. Do you see any discussion, Nikki?
I don't, hold on just one second. Let me stop the share. No, the only one was Kamitha had her hand up, and it might be about this. And I just added Jackson into the meeting.
Kamitha, is your item about the tabling and the motion? Please go ahead if it is.
Yeah, it was just about it was about semantics. If you table something and then you have to vote to take it off, then it is what it is. But if it was just a discussion, if it's a discussion on the agenda, then obviously we can just say we'll just move the discussion to a later date or withdraw the motion. So it doesn't matter. You have it figured out. So I took my hand down.
Okay, thank you. All right, bottom line, who's abstaining from the motion to table? If you're abstaining from the motion to table 27 dates, raise your hand or speak up, please. So we got a lot to get through. We got 2 hours into this. So I see nobody. Nikki, please check all screens. If you unmute yourself, if you want to abstain from the vote.
I don't see him. Oh, Jim says he's abstaining.
We've got one abstention, last chance to abstain. Last chance. Okay, one abstention. All those opposed, if you're opposed to tabling the motion, tabling the previous motion, 2027 dates. We got one person opposed to tabling. Who else?
I got me and Brittany, DeWalt, Arlen, Ryan, Jack. Okay, can you see your participant list, Julie? Because pretty much everybody has got their hands up. Everybody on my screen.
9, 10, 11. I got 11. And then keep your hands up. 12, 13. You guys both count. Julie, you count as well. 13.
I can't, every time somebody puts their hands up, it moves, so.
Keep your hands up. 15, 16, 17. I see 17. How many do you got that are, keep your hands up till we get a couple counts in. I got 17.
So my participant list says there's 17 hands up, not including if any of those are two for people or if there's anybody with their hand up on screen. And myself, mine, it won't let me raise my hand, so I'm at 18th one. Oh, and Melissa's got her hand raised. Julie has her hand raised.
I do too.
So does Ed. So does.
Do you want me to just do a roll call?
Well,
you're about there, 17, 18.
And Michelle Jensen, Mike Littman, Sue Ledger, all those ones are in addition that just have their actual hand raised on screen.
I'm sorry, is this to table it?
Yes, this is to table it.
Okay, thank you.
Or opposed to
I'm
tabling.
raising my hand.
Opposed to tabling.
Opposed to tabling.
Oh,
Yes.
opposed to table.
Opposed to tabling.
Yeah, on my first screen, I got 12 plus 13, 14,
I can see 23.
16, 17,
Shit.
18, 19, 20. I got 20 right now.
I had 24 before you started
Yeah.
talking and changing my screen,
Well,
so.
more are coming up too. Now 2 more have their hands raised.
I can know.
We had 48. All right. It's pretty close. Go for a roll call vote. It's real close.
I
Julie's
count
5-1.
26 from what I can see.
They're gonna roll call it now.
50. It's still, okay, you can put your hands down. Julie, read the names off one at a time and get their vote and ask them whether or not they're opposed. You can
Potter.
read the first 12 or whatever.
Becky Potter,
Yes.
you want to table.
She's
Yes.
opposed? No.
Or no, I'm sorry, no, no.
We want to vote on it.
Opposed. Arlen Rochon,
Arlen's got his hand up virtually.
Opposed.
Bill Henderson,
Opposed.
Johnny Landis,
We can't hear you, Julie.
you can't hear me?
Yeah.
Johnny Landis,
There we go.
Opposed.
Tammy Culbertson.
Tammy, are you opposed?
Everybody start unmuting yourself now. Tammy Culbertson,
I am opposed to,
Tabling.
no. I want it tabled.
you want to table it. You're approving.
Yes.
Vic,
Approved.
Ledger. Do you want to table it or do you want to vote on it? You're muted. Is it me? Sue Ledger. Put a thumbs up sign if you want to oppose it. Raquel Minjares,
Opposed.
Suzanne Mackey,
In favor of tabling.
Doug Schultz, Michelle Jensen,
Opposed.
Patrick Bennett,
Opposed.
Amber Davis,
Opposed.
Ryan Huntoon,
Opposed.
Shelley Huntoon,
Opposed.
Jeff Potter,
Want to vote on it?
Martha Grasham, Kamitha, Kamitha,
Arlen just told her. Just a
No,
second.
he didn't. No, I'm not even in the house. I abstain. I don't care.
Elaine Eberly, Elaine, everybody unmute yourself.
I did. I want to untable it.
You want to
Table it.
table it?
To table it. I want to
To table
table
Vote
it.
on if you want to vote
Robin
on the
Adams,
date or put them on hold.
Opposed to tabling.
Nikki Bisconer,
I want to vote on it.
Dave Chavez,
I want to table it.
want to table it. Brittany DeWalt,
Opposed.
I'm opposed. Tim Fraser,
Opposed.
Michael Littman,
It's the tabling.
opposed to tabling?
Opposed.
Opposed, thank you.
Opposed.
Jackson McDonald,
Opposed.
Bob Olson,
Opposed.
Melissa Olson,
Opposed.
opposed. Linda Carter, Linda Carter,
Sorry, opposed.
thank you. Lawrence Frampton,
Opposed.
Nancy Meeser,
Opposed.
Kristen Palmer,
Opposed.
Ty Rayburn,
Opposed.
Ed Slade,
Opposed.
Kathy Stanley,
Opposed.
Stephen Weekly,
Opposed. I believe we have enough already.
Yeah.
no, we do, we have more than enough. Michael Cho,
Well, then stop counting. If you have more
Yeah,
than
I'll
enough,
abstain.
that's it. Discussion
first
continues.
one calling me next week about the minutes not having the count.
What?
Do we not need to have a vote count of how many people opposed and how many approved? We always have.
Let's all remember not to yell, Sam.
I'll abstain.
Who's that, please?
Michael Cho.
Thank you, Michael.
We just need a simple majority.
Is
Can we
not
just
here.
show the majority
well,
member?
We've always gotten a vote in the past. And might as well not be this the one time we don't get the. We should have just counted in favor first, in hindsight. But not knowing how people are gonna vote, we don't know.
Opposed.
Michael Deichman,
I think we should vote on it. Thank you.
Steve Marker,
Opposed.
Darren Walding. Oh, you don't get the
Don't
vote,
get
never
the
mind.
vote.
Stephanie Crystal,
Vote to table it.
All right.
Tammy Condabear,
Abstain.
Angela Busenbark,
Abstain.
again.
Anyone else, Jules?
Doug Gibb. Can you not hear me?
I vote in favor.
In favor of tabling?
Yes.
Trudy McCaffrey, Trudy McCaffrey,
He responded in the group chat, not opposed. I want to table.
Means in favor, so, okay.
Chris Moreno,
In favor to table.
Sam Rubio, guessing you're in favor. Jim Roberts,
Opposed.
Tommy Fulton, Tommy Fulton, is Tommy Fulton still here? Doesn't look like it.
Mark him not present, not voting.
Trina Chavez,
Opposed.
Lisa Van Winkle,
Opposed.
and Carly Watros.
In favor.
Okay, so yeah, the opposed wins.
Excellent. I'll entertain a motion to accept the 2027 dates as presented. Could I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
if you're abstaining, please raise your hand or speak up. Abstaining. Anybody see anybody abstained? If you got their hand up, I can't see all of you guys at once. I see 0 abstentions. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I see 0 abstentions. Am I wrong?
I see that also.
Okay, 0 abstentions. We're moving on. I think we should go for the affirmative this time because it seems like the most likely, easiest way to count the votes. All those, no, wait a second. We want to go opposed, right? Actually, I don't know how people are going to vote. All those opposed, oh, no, it's going to be the same count. All those in favor. Let's see. What's going to be the quickest way to count, Julie? In favor? Should I do it in favor first or opposed first?
Opposed would be quickest.
Okay,
Does
all those
everybody know how
opposed.
to put their little yellow hands on the screen? That
That's
would be the
fine.
best way to do it.
If you're opposed to accepting if you're opposed to accepting the 27 dates, please raise your hand or speak up if you're opposed to accepting them.
I'm getting a few now. Suzanne, Brittany, oh, I gotta say the last names too, right?
No, I can see it. It doesn't, I don't count what each person votes. Suzanne, Brittany, Carly, Tammy Culbertson, Dave Chavez, is that Dave and Trina?
Yes. Yes.
And Tammy and Vic is 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And Sam, Chris, Doug.
That's probably all 3. Yes,
Yeah.
3. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yep.
5, 6,
3.
7, 8, 10. Is that everybody? Speak up if you're opposed and you haven't been listed.
Okay, you got 15 seconds to speak up. Are you opposed? I don't get to vote, but I'm opposed. But anyways.
All right, 10 opposed.
All right, the motion carries, I believe, right, Jules? Yeah. Yep, motion carries. We're done with dates. We're not going to be voting on 2028 dates because the casino doesn't want them. If you guys really want to spin your wheels, we can, but before we move on, we can bring the 2028 dates to a future meeting when we're asked for them. Any objections to my
God, no.
because we can sit here all day and play this little game. I know you guys want to have a 10-hour meeting. I know you love them. Okay, we weren't asked for 2028 dates, so we're not gonna present them to the casino. So I hereby issue a 5-minute break because I'm gonna use the restroom. So it's 2:10 right now. We're gonna reconvene at 2:15. Please do not take your phone to the restroom. Do not take your camera to the restroom. That's a requirement. I wish I was joking.
I only did that once.
You heard me, Ed. No, just kidding. Ed knows. All right. See you in 5.
Hey, Nikki, good job. Good job,
No
Nikki. This is
kidding.
Elaine.
Oh, I'm really happy that I can help. I think this is a lot less stressful for Julie for sure.
Yes, I agree. It's going real well. Good job.
Cool, thanks. I'll be back in 3 minutes too.
Hey, Nikki and Julie, this is Mike Littman. I'm on my phone and I'm driving. I don't see the option on my phone to raise my hand with, electronically. So I'm just going to continue raising my hand manually if I have to. I hope that works.
Mike, all you got to do is click or tap on the screen, and then at the bottom there's a reactions button. If you push that, then you'll get a hand.
If you're on an iPhone, you have to slide that bar all the way to the left.
I see it. I see it. Thank you. It's under reactions. I appreciate that. Thank you, whoever made that comment. Thank you. I will try to use that.
So, hello? Can you hear me?
Yep.
It is my daughter's birthday. Is there any way that I can vote in advance on this table thing, or have someone else vote for me, or something where I don't have to be here? Because yeah.
Do you have Zoom on your phone? So someone can just
do.
text you? Maybe
I mean, I
somebody
guess
can text you when the vote's gonna take place and then you can log on real quick.
I guess that's possible. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how long it would take me to get, into the chat and stuff, or into the.
Nikki will be back in like 3 minutes, she said. I would talk to her and Julie Because Nikki's the one who will accept you into the Zoom meeting.
I'm pretty fast. If somebody can
Oh, there you
text
go.
you and tell you when you're up, I've been keeping the participant list open the whole time. So when anybody pops in, I'm just letting them right back in, especially if you've already been in here before. Because the only other problem is if you're new to the meeting, then I wait just a second because I'm trying to tell Julie who's in here and who's not. But most everybody's just re-entering.
Okay, yeah, I just want to vote on the tables. I mean, I do want to participate in the rest of the stuff too, and I'm usually here for every single meeting. It's my daughter's birthday.
I get it. Happy birthday to your daughter.
Yeah, happy birthday
you.
from all 50 of
Happy
us.
birthday.
We'll sing too if you want.
No, I think we're good there, but
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so who's gonna text Mike when the vote's coming up? Mike D, you gonna do that?
Hey, I'm building a deck, man. I'm outside. I'm barely pulling this off as it is. Sorry.
Same here, I'm driving. I will try, Mike, if I can, but I can't guarantee anything.
Hey, I want everybody to know that I'm fine with all the dates, as long as somebody throws me a birthday party. Every year in March, it falls during my birthday.
Oh, you and Tracy. We always have Tracy's birthday at the coast.
Yeah, and Arla and I have celebrated our wedding anniversary almost every year at the coast for 20 years.
That's awesome.
So we should have a party for all the March babies.
Definitely. I see, boy. You be good boy. Oh.
Nikki, are you there?
Yeah.
I heard you say you had entered and let in a few people. Were they all people that were here already?
Yes. Yep, the only one was, yeah, nope, everybody's still the same.
I know Tom Fulton left. Ray Cunningham left. I'm just trying to make sure keep my count correct.
Oh, there was a Ryan left, then Ryan joined again, then Ryan left, then Ryan joined.
That's Ryan Buntoon. He's still in here.
This new update is pretty sweet that it tells you who left the meeting and who joined.
And it looks like Tom Fulton is back. And Rose Wilson is here with Nancy Meeser. But
I wonder if this is just Darren's version of Zoom that does this, because my version doesn't show me who left and who joined, but it lets me make other people co-hosts, and Darren's doesn't. Darren's like, you either get to be the host or that's it.
I mean,
It doesn't have co-host options.
I use the cloud version. I log into the website and then it launches an app of Zoom that's installed on my phone and on my laptop. And the app that's on my laptop gets updated all the time. So Zoom updates the application, or at least asks to, and I've been letting it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool. It's running great. It just runs a little bit different than the one that I usually use. Like the ability to make one of us a co-host and one a host, so you could share your screen. It doesn't let us do that in this version for whatever reason, but it's working.
It could be a meeting setup function I missed. You know what? I think when I set up a meeting, I can add you then, and that's when I should have done it. There's an edit function inside the setting up of a meeting. I think everybody, I told them, we'll wait one more minute. I told them, yeah, 2:15. Now, we're plenty back far enough. All right, 2:18. Next item is discussion of exceptions to require board or CC to approve exceptions. That was originally put on the agenda last time by Ed Slade. Ed, are you there?
I thought you said Ed removed that, like took it away, rescinded it last time.
I need to hear it from him. He did it he wasn't at the meeting last time.
What?
Remember the item you put on at the last meeting about discussion of exceptions to require board or CC to approve exceptions? You put that on there. You then kind of removed it a little bit because you weren't there. Are you okay removing the item now, or do you want it to be discussed?
Yeah, you can remove it.
Okay, that item number 2 has been removed by the submitter, okay? Thank you, Ed. Discussion of division qualifying out of BC through Players Club in 2020. Subsequently denied membership to join league as a league. Yeah, they applied to be a league and were denied, is the bottom line. They were allowed during COVID. We said at the meeting during COVID that we would revisit the issue in a year, and we did not. I'm responsible for not bringing it up in a year, and also personal Julie responsible for not reminding me, but it's still 100% my responsibility. But so for those who don't know, there's a division of pool players out of British Columbia, Vancouver, BC, of players who previously qualified out of the Village Inn in the very top portion of Washington. The Village Inn location was closed down, and those players then requested to play out of British Columbia under Players Club Limited. We have lots of problems with this issue in the sense that the Western BCA currently does not require league operators to get Western BCA approval to start a division. They have to get our approval to be started as a league. But if each league operator on this call wants to start a new division at another bar down the street, they don't have to call us. That's the situation. So on one hand, we have to resolve the issue that we promised to revisit, which would have been a couple years ago, and didn't. On the other hand, we need a long-term solution, discussion, resolution to how this organization handles leagues in certain territories. So I think I'd like to start off with some brief discussion, if we can make it brief, and then we can start talking about motions and stuff. Can I get everyone's thoughts on what's happened and where they think we should go? Get a list of hands, please, Nikki.
So you can raise your hand and they can see you.
Hold on. Darren, hold on one second. Let me unmute you. I just muted everybody because there was a couple people talking on accident. Okay, it's all you. Oh.
Okay, there we go. But did anybody hear what I said?
No, a couple people were talking at the same time. It kind of overpowered you. If you want to say that again, might be better.
All right, so should I start at the very beginning, you think? Sounds like it.
Maybe, sorry.
Okay.
I heard everything you said.
At the very beginning, there was a group of players out of the Village Inn in the north portion of Washington that played out of our Western BCA for years by playing out of Players Club Limited. The Village Inn closed. They had no place to play. They requested to start as a division under Players Club. And I got a call saying, yeah, they want to start next week. So I made the decision to allow them to start for 1 year only. I announced what I did at the meeting because I had no time to call a meeting and have long debates. The league, the division was starting in a couple days. And so I said at the meeting, we would revisit it in a year. We failed to do so. I take responsibility for that. As far as that goes, I wanted to point out that leagues are not required to get Western BCA's approval to start another division. The only time they need our approval is if League A wants to start a division at a bar that's been ran by League B. You're not supposed to move into somebody's bar. The location belonged to the leagues that have them. So we don't want our leagues competing with one another in the same venues. And in some cases, preferably not the same cities. So bottom line is, we got to figure out what to do with this group of players that they also requested to sign up as their own league and get away from Players Club Limited. We voted no on that. So because we wouldn't let them be a league, they stayed a division and have been a division for the last 3 years. I lean in favor personally of leaving them as a division of Players Club Limited, only because they played with us long before this exception was made, and they've been Western BCA players for a long, long time. I'd like to entertain discussion and then a motion. So let's go with a discussion first. Everyone's thoughts. Christy Palmer, I see your hand up. And then Ed, and then Tammy. Christy, Ed, Tammy. Christy Palmer, unmute yourself, please.
Sure, I'm speaking. We have two units or two things going, so I'm running through his. This particular group of people they attend Lincoln City events regularly. They go to nationals regularly. They are a very active group of people, and they actually do contribute to the league. They're not somebody that's just playing in it and then not going to come to it. They're very actively involved in Lincoln City and in the Western BCA. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Ed Slade.
So just a little more history on it. It was at the Village Inn. They played on 2 different nights. There was approximately maybe 30 Canadians that came down and played. About maybe the same amount, once the Village Inn closed, came across the border to Sumas and continued qualifying there through our league. And then the border closed, and then they asked Darren to run in Canada, and he approved it. And now that group of 25 to 30 players is 60, playing in 2 different divisions, in 2 different venues, and it will likely grow to more, which I don't have a problem with it. I put it on the agenda in the first place to have them come in. But that's just a little more of the history. I'm done.
Thank you. I didn't know that. Appreciate that. I saw Tammy Culbertson.
Yeah, and I just want to add to it too, that I remember the whole situation to where the border was closed. They couldn't come across the border. And then the Village being closed, and it's like, I believe I've been told an hour and a half or something like that for a round trip or travel time coming across the border from where they are. And usually all those that are on the Washington side is full, really full. So, as far as the division, I think that it's under Players Club Limited, and I think that's a good thing. And as far as an actual league starting up there, I think would be no, but we had already decided that. That's all.
Okay, let me go through the names I see next. I see Suzanne Mackey, Kamitha, and Julie are the next I have on the list. Suzanne Mackey, please go ahead.
I don't see where it would be a problem as long as the entire division pays their fees to Western BCA, and they're, they are on the LMS system. Everything is accounted for. We've had a similar situation here where we've had divisions that have started up, but the entire division has to pay regardless of whether they're subbing or whether they are trying to get qualified. And it benefits Western BCA because you might have a couple of players that are coming, but you'll be collecting fees for 30 to 40 players. So I'm in favor of it as a division.
Excellent. Tamitha?
I'm in favor of keeping them a division because if we want to control the demographics, as soon as you open up, it's British Columbia, right? British Columbia, and then if you make them their own league, and then they want to create a division, how do you come up with a way to say, well, no, what's the distance? Because then now it's almost like you're opening all of British Columbia. The same thing with actually Montana. I think they should stay under Idaho, even though Montana to Spokane is closer than probably where I live to Astoria, to Grants Pass, Bedford. But if you contain it in the regions that we already are allowing into a Western BCA, then we can control those demographics. Because just like Montana, you let a league in from Montana, it's like, well, how far do you go into Montana to allow them to Western BCA? But if they're still under Idaho, I don't know if they are now, but if they're under Idaho, then we can at least have that border. We can control the demographics. Otherwise, you're going to have to go look at counties and distance. So I think the British Columbia should say a division under Washington, so we keep that the control of the demographics in Washington. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Next up, I have Julie, Lawrence, and Suzanne. I think if you're done with your hand, please put it down electronically. So Julie, you're next, and then Lawrence.
My concern on this is we voted not to allow them to be a league, to have a league out of Canada. And now we're saying that they can be, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to have a division out of there, but it started out as 30 players and now it's already 60 players. My concern is how many people from all over up there are going to find out they can come get qualified in this division. This could grow to 160 players overnight, and we have no control of that. It's not like we can say some of you can play in that division and some of you can't. So whatever reasoning we had for voting out, letting them have a league, I think we need to think about those numbers and that impact if we're going to allow them to run a division out of there with, carte blanche on how large it can grow. And that's it.
Thank you. I got Lawrence and then Suzanne and then Johnny. So Lawrence, go ahead.
So I just have a couple of questions. We have a Nevada league, right? And we have an Alaska league now that we just brought in. Is that correct, Darren?
We approved the Alaska League. They decided not to proceed with their membership. So they are not a member, but they were approved to do so.
Because I wasn't around here for them getting their league. And to me, it doesn't really matter. My question is, Alaska's a 3-day drive, but BC is only an hour away to be in America. So it's just kind of silly to do all those things when we could have a division, have more participation with people who already come down here to play. Stan Chiringo being one of those people. I think he's a Hall of Famer, right? I'm not crazy. So it just seems kind of weird that we wouldn't allow them to come and be a division. That's it.
Okay. Next up, I got Suzanne. And once I say your name, you can take your digital hand down. So I got Suzanne, Johnny, and Ed. So Suzanne, you're next.
So I think the key is looking at the league operators and the integrity involved. The key with adding the divisions is you've got league operators that are already accountable. And I think that that's the key. Whereas if you're looking at adding an entire, a new district, so to speak, or a new league operator, you're taking kind of a chance that they're not going to have integrity. So I think it just comes down to, what's proven versus what is just trying to bring in numbers.
Okay. Thank you. Johnny and Ed are next. Johnny?
Yeah, unless Suzanne maybe has a division out of Montana. I don't have one yet out of Montana. Is there one that I don't know about?
Suzanne, do you have one out of Montana?
No, I don't have one out of Montana. I did have one out of Idaho Falls, and I made sure that when we started that league, I talked to nationals and got a hold of the person who handled that area, and she wasn't interested in Western BCA whatsoever. So they formed a division, and there was 30 plus players in that division. One player came over to play. But 30
reason I
plus
asked is
players
because-
had the opportunity.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because I've been given names from Montana, but so far nobody's come through with a for sure, division, at least through me. So
There's been talk, but nobody has done anything.
Okay, I want to stay focused on Canada, this Vancouver, Canada.
Can't hear you, Darren.
Next is Ed Slade, Bob Olson, and Doug Schultz. So Ed Slade,
So like I said, it started as 30 players in one league out of Sumas, which is now 2 leagues, Wohlers and Sumas out of BC. And who's to say it's not going to turn into a league out of Vancouver Island and a league out of Upper BC and or a division? I mean, how many divisions are they going to have up there under Players Club Limited? And how many players? I mean, I got no problem. We need people to fill casino, and they'll all come. But I mean, what's it going to turn into?
what percent of those 60, Ed, do you think show up? I think I was going to ask Tammy next.
Quite a few. It's quite a few. I'd say probably half are coming down now.
Okay, thank you. Bob Olson, you're next, then Doug Schultz.
Hey, I have a quick question. A division, is that just one geographical area? Is it one city? If
The
they,
bar you play out of is a division, whatever bar you play out of, whatever bar I play.
okay, is a division. So, okay, so if we have one division in Canada, or say 2 bars in Canada that in British Columbia that we allow them to play and qualify the Western BCA, would not any other division have to also get approval? Or can that division out of bar A go to bar C and create another part of the division? In other words, do we have any control of limiting the size? Because I'm concerned with another person said that next thing you know, we're half of British Columbia. So do we have?
We have no control over any of it. That's my point. I think we need to get past this one issue and then form long-term rules that we want governing our growth. That's my 2 cents. I think we really need to have what we will allow a division to be, like if it's, if we don't want a division to be over 100 people, but I'd really need to ask all the league operators if they don't, what's the largest division we have in Western BCA? I don't know. But yeah, good points. So Doug,
Can I just add to that on the league operator? As far as the league operator goes, though, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Chris Rogers, doesn't he not enter everything in, or does he let his divisional managers enter the sessions in for him?
Division managers do it.
You guys do? Like
Yes,
you would?
yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. So, but I know that Chris Rogers has the right to turn them down if he doesn't want another division either. So that's all.
Chris Rogers also gets a percentage of every player that joins Western BCA, or Players Club Limited does. So he's going to have a hard time saying, no, you got too many players.
Yeah. All right. Doug Schultz, then Tamitha, and then Arlen. Doug?
My question I guess is, you guys go as a nonprofit or a not-for-profit type organization. If we start bringing in Canadians that are actually collecting Canadian funds up here and sending to us, international laws on their side, our side, that might cause grief to the organization.
Well, it would only cause maybe grief to Players Club Limited. Players Club Limited is required to send us US dollars. So we are collecting our dues from the league operator, and we don't collect our dues from divisions.
So he's responsible for any legality that happens up there.
Players Club Limited would be.
Okay.
Same with you. If you start a division, we're going to come knock on your door.
Yeah, and right now I got Canadians that come down to my side. They always play out of Omac, and we're just starting out up here this part of July. But they've always come across the border to this side. We don't collect any money on that side.
Yeah, are you in favor of keeping them a division, Doug? I'm curious, because you're in that area, you know the area better than I do.
I want to know more about the Canadian laws before I would make it happen up there.
Okay.
Is Players Club limited? Do they know what their responsibility is up there? If they get in a bar fight up there and it's underneath the league at the time, is he prepared to answer to Canadian law?
Good questions. I don't know.
That's all.
Tamitha, then Arlen, then Nancy, Meeser, Rose Wilson. Tamitha, please.
You'd made a comment, Darren, that a division is, I think you might have just been a specific example for one league operator, but you said a division would be one bar. And that has not been the case for 20 years.
Yeah. That's
So
correct.
so I think, I don't know if it's necessary, but if that statement that you made kind of stands and that's understanding, then I think we should, behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, make it the same, define what a division is, because I was thinking of making a division that includes not just one bar, it's 5 bars and it's 3 cities, 3 tiny little towns.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the definition of division plays a factor here, but I just wanted to kind of rebut that statement you made.
I appreciate it. I think you're correct. There are divisions that span multiple bars. We have traveling leagues that go to 8 bars. I knew it right after I said it. But yeah,
Okay.
a lot of cases it's 1 bar. It can easily be multiple bars. You are correct. Thank you for correcting me. Arlen?
I don't think it's this body's decision to stifle a league operator if they want to increase players and get more people involved. As far as where they're coming from, the league operator is the one that's responsible for the funds, for maintaining the players as far as their stats and turning things in and getting everything done. So it's the league operator, and we've always been told as league operators, we're kind of contractors. So we can run our leagues how we see fit by a certain rule. So why would we stifle wanting to get more people involved is my question to the body. And I'm just curious of how many people want to just stay stagnant and not allow new people in. Thank you.
Good points. Nancy Meeser / Rose Wilson, whoever that wants to speak.
Hi, guys. This is Rose Wilson.
Hey,
Can you hear
Rose.
me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Number one, I just want to say I am one of the Players Club Limited League operators, and I'm also the division manager coordinator for the PCL, which means I'm in control and have the say-so on our divisions under us. Chris always sends everything my way when there's issues for divisions, or whether or not we are going to accept or do not accept new divisions. I do know we got Brad and Cody up in Canada right now, and they're doing a great job, and we are not having any issues with them. But as far as any other divisions opening up under there, it would have to come through Chris and myself as approval before they even started. So, and we would have to know the background of the division manager. Our division managers do LMS and all the other stuff, except for a couple, which I do it for them. But everything is running very smoothly under us at the point. As far as the divisions are concerned, again, that would be Chris and my responsibility to approve any additional ones. But as far as a league, independent league starting up there, our vote would be no. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think that's everyone.
Bill is,
I didn't see it. Bill, go
he
ahead.
just raised his hand.
Well, that's why I didn't see it. Bill, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Bill. Bill muted. There you go.
These Canadian divisions right now are in 2 different leagues. Doug has some people that come down from Penticton and play in his league. It was brought up earlier about different areas from Canada would be possibly joining this association and some league in this association. I'm closer to anybody else on Vancouver Island. And if the people in Vancouver Island would like to come down, I would like to have a choice that they get to choose my league to play in.
And that means you're opposed to leaving them? What does that mean, your status on this of whether they should stay? I mean,
I don't have a problem with them being a division and playing in Canada. Okay, but which league they sign up with is what my issue is. Like I say, Vancouver Island is closer to my league than anybody's. And we ought to have some of the closer leagues that are overseeing the new divisions that are coming in from Canada. I'm sure Doug wants to keep his Penticton people playing in his league. If we go farther east, do they go in and join the Sandpoint League? Who are they going to fall under? Are they going to fall under Spokane, for example? Or is it everybody in Canada supposed to come in under Seattle?
okay. Thank you. Good points. Ed, go ahead.
So Doug, your league is out of, you're out of what? South Seattle, Thurston County? Where are you?
I'm spread out. I'm over as far as Port Orchard, Paulsbo, as far
Port
north
Orchard,
as-
Paulsbo, and then you're up in Omak, which is
Yep.
totally kitty corner across the state.
Correct.
Wouldn't that be closer to Spokane?
I don't know. Players used to play in my league over here in the Tacoma area. They moved over that way. They wanted.
I'm
my
just trying
division.
to prove Bill's point that because you live closer to Vancouver Island, which is a 3-hour ferry boat ride, that, I mean,
What?
it really wouldn't matter if they play in Players Club Limited or in your league, Bill. I mean, I don't think logistics is really, really the issue here.
All right. I'd like to hear from anyone opposed, because I think it sounds like my original decision of leaving them a division and not meddling in this at all should stand. And if there's anyone opposed, I'm open to hearing opposing views, but I've heard nothing but in favor. So
Okay, this is Nikki. I'm not super opposed to it, but the reason that it was discussed to not do this a while ago isn't because we don't want to grow, like we like that idea, but we are going to grow out of the casino where we're going to end up having to have really short races. And that was going to be one of the problems that we were going to run into is, what do we do when we have hundreds of more players coming to this event? Would we have to make it long, stretch out for 2 weeks instead of 10 days? Or do we shorten the race to half the race? What do we do at that point? And if we've already went from 30 to 60 players in Canada, that potentially, that's something what we could run into later. That's it.
thank you. Appreciate your thought.
Can I ask a question
Yeah,
of the league operators that spoke? I guess I'm not understanding why it's okay to have them be a division, but you all said, and I'm not arguing, I want to understand. Everybody said it's okay for them to be a division, but not their own league. Why? I don't understand that.
Samantha or Suzanne wants to answer that.
Suzanne, go ahead.
Because divisions change, divisions come and go, but the status quo and the responsibility goes with the league operator. You have new leagues coming and going, you're going to have chaos. If you have divisions coming and going, your league operator, the league operator that you've had for years, is responsible for that. They hold their division managers responsible for that. It's all about accountability and integrity. And when you start adding all these other leagues, you lose accountability and you lose integrity. Whereas divisions, the accountability and the integrity comes back to that league operator that you've counted on for years.
Perfect. Thank you. Well said. Let's wrap up this discussion. We've got a lot and we really want to have as much time for the table issue as possible. Tammy Conabear and then Bob Olson.
So I have no problem letting them in as a division for this year, but I think it needs to be addressed down the road on, you know, if it grows to 400 people, then that becomes a league. And that's just where, you know, if give them a 1-year exception and then the powers that be can go in and set some boundaries on divisions.
Thank you for your feedback. Bob Olson. Bob. Hello, Bob.
Sorry, first time I unmuted. Why don't we just, of all the players that are currently want to play in Canada that are an active member now, why don't we just grandfather them in and not let anybody else in? Why can't we just grandfather those players in, let them play in Canada, and then come down and play? And they can't add to the league or the division. Couldn't we agree to do that?
I think it's real important that we do not step in the mud and start having control over each division. We have zero control over all the existing divisions, and there's tons of them. I don't think we want to start a precedent of meddling in divisions. I think we need a long-term plan. It should come from the board and then brought to this membership. And it should get solved long-term, and we leave this one alone. And until the long-term plan is brought to this body. But we should not be telling leagues what they can and can't do with the division, because if we do it for one, we have to do it across the board. And we really need to get a firm handle on what we're doing before we make a unilateral decision that could impact existing leagues here in the States. So I see where you're coming from, and I'm okay with getting there at some point, but I think we have to think carefully, tread lightly, and do it correctly. Suzanne?
I think like Arlen, I believe it was Arlen that spoke earlier, it's not this body's, it's not our position to actually control how the league operators run their leagues. So once again, it goes back to the basics, which is integrity and accountability. And rather than us trying to control or manipulate or et cetera, I think we need to do a better job of holding people accountable and holding the league operators accountable for the things that we do expect from them.
I understand. My concern in the loopholes that I see around starting divisions is, Suzanne, you could start a division out of Florida right now, a Florida division of pool. In other words, the leagues could cause unlimited growth at some point.
I agree with you there, and maybe there needs to be a parameter as far as the states are concerned or as far as the areas are concerned. And that needs to maybe come to the board. But I agree with you wholeheartedly when it comes to starting a division out of Florida or starting even a division out of Nampa or Nevada. I think that anything outside of our territories, or I shouldn't say our territories, but outside of the state that we operate in, probably should at least get a head nod, not necessarily a control, but a head nod saying, hey, yeah, we've been playing out of here. They're moving bars, and hold them accountable.
That's the ongoing problem with territories, because divisions start and stop all the time. They're constantly changing of where these league operators start a division, and we can't. It's hard to draw a circle of a map and say you guys stay here, because another league might have what Doug had going into OMAC. I mean, there's difficulties in until we have borders or something drawn up. The bottom line, I think the board needs to provide its recommendation. This needs to be an in-depth discussion and debate.
Well, one thing I'm recently familiar with is you all probably do estate planning, you all do wills. You need to do your won'ts, not your wills. And I think that just needs to be something that's considered rather than trying to control everything. What don't we want to, what albatross do we not want to take on?
Well said, well said. I agree. Arlen and then Bill.
Years ago, Darren, there was leagues all over the state run by one particular person. And I never agreed with that idea at all, because when you had players that didn't even know each other playing with players out of their league, because their league operator ran it, I didn't agree with that. Fargo came in, all that went out the window. But in the mission statement that I read about this organization 20 some odd years ago, this organization is to promote pool and put on tournaments, not to control leagues, not to control divisions, but that's what it's supposed to do, is promote pool and put on tournaments. If it's changed, let me know, because I'd love to see it revised, because I've never seen any revisions on that.
I agree wholeheartedly. I will say that's what that committee I appointed at the beginning is about, and they'll bring it to you guys to discuss. So, well said, and I agree 100%. Bill Henderson.
I agree with Suzanne that we should try and have integrity and everything in our divisions and within our leagues, I'm sorry. When we add an interdivision, it should be in the state or area that we are already in. This proposal that you're having is letting players play outside of our states in Canada, which we don't have any agreement to have Canadian leagues in. And even though all these players come down from Canada and play in our divisions, or they did before COVID, now they're asking to play up there. They will grow. There will be more people who want to play, and we're going to have to make some decisions. In the interim, I think we ought to grandfather the people in that we have had in the past that have played in our leagues. Okay, that have come across the border, that played in our leagues and come to our tournaments. But I think we should limit it for at least 1 year just to that. After that, we should have a policy in place to say whether we're going to be able to accept more people or not. And a large part of it is the size of our venue. Lincoln City is limited in how many players we can have come there unless we radically reduce the races or something like that, or add days. And I don't think anybody wants to add days to what we already have. I personally like the races the way they are. I think we could probably fit in a few more people, but to just open it up and say, yes, you can have a division up there with unlimited people, I think that's a little bit crazy. So grandfathering in, yes, saying it's open to everybody that wants to come and play in those new divisions or that division, I'm against that.
Thank you. Elaine?
And then Sam after that, sorry, it says his name keeps getting, his hand just comes down.
Elaine
by
and then
itself.
Sam. Got it. Elaine and Sam.
Okay, I vaguely remember, and maybe it was when Bill was president, Darcy, or even before Bill being president. It's been a long time. The reason I believe they were coming across the border was because of the international angle. So I get that, you know, the place closed down and everything, but there was a reason that they were crossing the border to come over and play. And if you look back through the minutes of archives, maybe you can find, we've had this discussion before, it's not new. I can't quote verbatim, but maybe someone who's been around a long time or former documents can help with this, but I just wanted to remind people of that.
Thank you. All right, Sam.
The date today is June 25th, and I agree with everything that Julie said. Marking the date and time.
You made me snort.
Real quick, I think that the reason why they had to come across the border is because CSI wouldn't let us grow. They told us we couldn't have divisions in Canada.
Now they say we can have the whole nation if we want.
That's right, because they know we don't have room for the whole nation.
We don't, and I don't want the whole nation. Okay, so the purpose of this whole thing was to come to some resolution, and I have not heard a negative thing about why we should not allow them to continue as a division. I'm gonna ask the board to come up with a long-term solution plan for this type of issue and bring it to a future meeting. Stephen Weekly, I hope you heard me there. We need a long-term plan on territories and divisions and what can and can't be done, and are there limits to where a league can grow to? And when does the league have to ask our permission? Because currently they don't. So like I said, if you want to start in Hawaii, does an Oregon and Washington league need our permission to start in Hawaii? I would suggest yes, but I'll let the board come up with their recommendations, bring it to a future meeting, and that's the long-term solution. The short-term solution will be that this division stands as it is. We'll have no opinion on stopping it for now or having any input on it until we see what the board's long-term vision for our growth is and long-term recommendations for policies and procedures around this whole issue. Okay, I think
Hold on.
that.
So what you want me to put in the action review is that long-term plan on territories, divisions, and where a league can expand to.
And growth limitations, yeah, what limitations to what divisions can expand and where leagues can expand to. And when and if they have to talk to Western BCA. Because right now they don't. You can just go to, if you're LO, you can just go to Colorado if you want, and call a bar that plays out there, say, hey, you guys want to start under us? And start collecting money, put it in LMS, and you're free to do it. I can't stop. But I think we need firm rules so that we have an agreed upon playbook that we all agree on. So yeah, I think we just need a playbook of how we do things. And I'd like to see it in writing. So when I, as president, get these to come across my desk, I know what to do, so that's all. So that's our short and long-term solution to this issue. Okay, let's move along. Item number 4. We had a request from Rollers Pool League to join Western BCA. For those who don't know, Rollers Pool League is up in Canada. They are a separate league. I'm going to pull up their rollerspool.com is their website. Rollerspool.com. They have, I got to pull up my email. I know how many members and stuff they have. Let's see. But to me, this whole issue kind of ties into what the board's going to recommend on our growth plan and, of what leagues can and can't do. So I wouldn't be opposed to a motion to table. But
Why we have all of us here before we get together as a board to talk about this, could we find out how many people want that like the race the way it is versus shortening it? Like if we do this, like what's an agreement that everybody likes?
No, we can't switch topics like that. I respect that you'd like to know that. If you want to put out a survey on Facebook, by all means, we can get one out for you. But I really want to get to this table issue. This Predator Diamond thing has been looming for 3 to 6 months, depending on how you look at it, maybe a year. We need a freaking answer on the final agenda item, and I'm kind of determined to get to it. So I appreciate what you want to know and respect it, but let's try to get that information another way for now.
Okay.
Well, it seems like this issue of this Canada League should be tabled until the board goes into, well, I guess it's a league. It's not a territory. Never mind. I'll shut up.
Then make a motion.
Has to table it.
Is it seconded? Is that motion to table seconded?
I second it.
All right, all those abstaining
We're
from.
going to discuss it.
Let's discuss it.
I'm first.
Fire away, Ed.
Rollers is already a division of Players Club Limited.
No, I heard 6 months ago, but You probably have more current information.
They are one of the two. It's Sumas and Rollers.
Interesting.
They are under LMS.
Okay, thank you. Very important information. They didn't tell me that. All right. So on that basis, I feel still that, well, I got to deal with the motions that have been presented, unfortunately.
This agenda item says to allow Rollers Pool League, and then underneath it says Mountain Home Pool League. Are those the same thing?
Two separate leagues
Two
requested to
separate
join.
leagues. Okay. And are they both out of Canada?
Mountain Homes out of Idaho. So we'll
Is
do
there
one
a
at a
motion on
time.
the floor?
There was a motion to table and it was seconded.
No. Okay, what motion are we trying to table?
Agenda item number 4, which is we had 2 requests to join Western BCA, one from Rollers and one from Mountain Home.
Okay, so
Mountain Home.
there was no motion made for that original agenda item, correct?
Correct.
So we don't have to table it. There's no motion on the floor.
You only got, you're right. There is no, I'm sorry, you are correct.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Where's Mountain Home?
It's Pocatello. No? Okay.
Southeast of Boise.
Suzanne, help me out, please. Suzanne Mackey, please tell me where about Mountain Home.
Mountain Home is about 25, 30 minutes south of Boise. So it's about an hour from Emmett, but a little over an hour from Emmett. But it's the big Air Force base here. So it's in Idaho, but it's just south of
Your
Boise.
neck of the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, it's before you get to Twin Falls. So, and there's, right now they have a BCA league. It's a gentleman that has a pool hall down there. He's a former Air Force vet, or he is an Air Force vet. And he did contact me about running a division out of Southwest Idaho. So, which I wouldn't have a problem with as long as they would follow all of the rules
Would you be
and
opposed
pay
to
all
them?
the fees.
Would you
Pardon
be
me?
opposed to them being a league, or you'd only, I mean,
They can be a league if they want to. It doesn't matter either way to me. All I know is if that division was under me, they would just have to follow all of they'd have to all pay and there wouldn't be any exceptions. And they have to get their 8 weeks in. So it's just, usually our leagues run anywhere from 10 weeks to I don't know, 20 weeks, depending upon the division that we have. So,
yeah, because I want to get to this final issue, I think, and we can't table the item, I'm gonna move it to unfinished business, and that places it at the top of the next agenda item. So,
Both of those leagues are going to move to unfinished business, both
Yep.
of those. Okay.
And then Eileen has her hand up.
what I'd really like when these new leagues want to join us is I'd like that league operator wanting to join to come to a meeting and tell us about their league and answer questions. I think that should, I don't know if we can make it a requirement, but it would be ideal to really have that league operator to come to a meeting, at least the meeting on voting them in or not, but that's my suggestion. But yeah, so this item is going to be moved to unfinished business. Let's see. Discussion of any new news and vote regarding accepting CSI's offer to use predator tables. The only news regarding CSI was that they did offer to provide us the tables for free for both events in 2024. At the prior meeting Ozzy spoke at, he was only offering them for one event for 5 years. He's now offering them for both events of 2024 and for 25, 26, 27, 28. So it'd be one event in the future years for a total of 5 and 2 events for the upcoming 2024. Those numbers should be explained on the spreadsheet. It's now a PDF on the website of the meetings page that the board sent out. Are there any questions regarding CSI's offer? Could I entertain discussion? And then we're going to eventually move to a motion, but I want to make sure that everyone understands what's being offered. I see no questions. Excellent. I'll give it a few more seconds. Oh, Bill Henderson, there you go. Bill, go ahead.
So the way I understand it, if we're talking about a 2-year contract,
No contract with CSI, none.
no, what are we talking about?
I want to make sure people understand what CSI's offered and know what's on the table, because we're going to talk about moving to a motion to accept or reject their offer. So does everyone understand what CSI is offering? They have no contract requirements of us. We could use them for, we could say we want to use them for 2 events next year and then change our mind to use it for 1. We can do whatever we want. They're not asking us to sign a contract. That's one of the differences between them and Bad Boys, who wants a contract.
Okay, so
What's the security? Oh, sorry. Sorry, Bill.
then the question I guess I have to ask is, will they provide these 4 people who are they're talking about running CTS? Will they provide them even if we overlap with their tournament in Las Vegas?
I did not specifically discuss what happens if we overlap. I just envisioned we never would. So that's my best honest answer of what has been said so far. But I believe either way, they're not really interested in running our tournament. They will if we ask them to, but I'm 100% certain they can't be in 2 places at once.
Would they be
Point of
able to-
order, aren't we just talking about tables?
Yeah,
Well, why are we talking about running the tournament?
good point. Thank you.
That's what I tried to ask the first time, was about tables.
That's what this is
Okay.
about. The CSI's offer to use Predator tables. Are there
And
So-
for this first year, it's 0 cost for tables.
except we pay the
And from-
installation, setup and tear down fees. 0 cost for table rental. We would pay the setup and tear down fees unless we provided labor that we paid separately. So either way we pay. But yeah, I would probably, at least for the first event, recommend we use their people. But yeah,
For tables.
for tables, if we voted that way.
Okay.
They're charging 1,800 for setup and tear down plus 2,000 in travel costs. So we're looking at 5,600 versus 18,000. Arlen, go ahead.
First of all, if we don't have a contract, something in writing, what is our guarantee? Ozzy isn't going to just say, nah, too bad. We don't care. I vote for, my vote is definitely no if you don't have something in writing to back it up.
We can insist on a contract. I'm saying they're not requiring one. I don't know if you're saying we should require one, I'm not opposed to that, but
We should definitely do something to cover our own butt for a tournament that we're going to be putting on, or 2 tournaments if they're offering that, or anything there in the future. There should always be something in
Us.
writing that covers us as an organization. I don't take handshake and a smile from anybody, and I don't know the last time you bought a car that you did the same thing. There's always a contract somewhere. So you don't handshake and a smile with something of this nature and this
I do.
expense. Well, then in that case, I got this really great car for sale. If you want a handshake and smile,
Like,
it
we're not
runs
buying a car.
beautiful.
Right.
So, I mean, that's where I'm at. You
Good
got to
point.
have a
It's well
contract.
taken. It's well taken. Good point. Bob, you have questions on the offer being made by CSI, yes or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with the previous guy that we don't have a contract. It's air. It's just air.
We can
Guys,
add
we gotta
contract.
make it, we gotta make a decision before we can do a contract.
The
The contract comes
is a
after we make a
decision.
decision.
Exactly. Exactly. We're not.
Yeah, but this discussion is saying they are not wanting a
Requiring one.
contract and
They're
we're
not
just saying. we
requiring
do.
one.
Right.
Requiring and wanting are two different things.
Correct. They're not requiring one. I believe if we ask them to sign one, they would. So. Does that clear things up?
Yeah, one more question. Will
yeah.
they be in the summer rates or the spring rates instead of the winter? Can they provide tables in the dates that we now have, which are winter rates? Nikki was making a comment the other day about that.
Well, I'd have to take the dates that came out of today's meeting to them.
Isn't that when the worlds are running?
The dates that were sent originally were not the dates that the board presented. The board came up with different dates than I did, which is fine. So all I could do is take it to them. But we're trying to decide 2024, and we know they can meet our needs in 2024. If you read what I put on the agenda, it was discussion of 2024, not 2027 and 28. So as far as that, I'll get you a long-term answer to that, if you feel you need it. Izzy, go ahead.
You're muted.
Izzy,
There you go. Oh, now you're muted again.
you're muted again. We can't hear you. We
How about
can't.
now?
There you go.
Good.
All right, sorry about that. I understand what CSI is offering. And I also believe that it's made very clear that they don't want to run it. They're expecting us to be able to run our own tournament if we go with their tables. But the question that I've asked multiple players reps throughout Vancouver and Portland and other players, and I personally was unaware of it, and so far so good. No one said anything different to me. But to me, the question that should be asked of our members is, do we want to run our own tournament? As
Well,
far
we're
as
talking about tables right now, so
right, but the fact of the matter is that question needs to be answered first. If our members don't want us to run our own tournament, then CSI bringing their tables in isn't even a factor. I mean,
run our tournament, Izzy. They offered to run our tournament. They don't want to, but they will. That's the difference. They will run our tournament if we ask them.
they will. So
Yes.
there's no reason to be looking for volunteers then.
They will run our tournament if we want to pay them to do so. But we're only talking about the tables right now.
Okay, that's
We
why
have
I was
options.
asking.
Yeah, we can run it. We can have Bad Boys run it, or we can have CSI run it.
I was just making sure about that because from my understanding, initially back in April, we were running our own tournament. That's why I brought up the question.
Thank you for bringing up the question. Next, anyone else? Does everyone understand what CSI is offering? Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion from the floor to accept or reject CSI's offer to use Predator tables for 2024. Can I get that so moved?
Seconded. You
I
have to
need
get
a
it
motion.
seconded.
I haven't
Oh.
got the motion. Is it moved? Someone say so moved if you wish to agree with it.
So moved.
Excellent. Is there a second?
Second.
Suzanne's hands up.
Let me get the motion exactly right. The motion is, I go back to my agenda. Motion to accept or reject CSI's offer to use Predator tables for 2024. So the motion is, should Western BCA accept or reject CSI's offer to use Predator tables for 2024? Got that, Jules?
To accept or reject CSI's offer to use Predator tables for 2024.
Okay, perfect. Discussion. If you'd like to discuss this issue, please. I see no hands. I'll wait a few.
Can
There's
I
one.
start?
Yeah, tell me who's in line. I got Bob first is who I see.
Okay, the ones in line are Bob and Bill. Okay, so to start
and-
with, if we go with the CSI, the available dates are gonna make, if that's the case where they conflict, we're gonna be stuck with spring rates that aren't good for the players. We're gonna need to scout out more volunteers that we're gonna need to train, that we'll also need to give more hotel rooms for. And the price will go up once the introductory price is over, especially if he doesn't have a contract for us, because last time he didn't have a contract, he said that he was gonna change the national date so they weren't conflicting with us later, and he didn't. So a contract with them is really gonna be important to make sure that we're safe. Going with Bad Boys, the date availability with winter rates is gonna be fantastic. Have to deal with Bad Boys talking like all this bad publicity recently bashing BCA. That's a problem with sticking with Bad Boys, and I wish they would stop doing that. The vendor uses bad mouthing our members as a way to bully their way with the BCA. And long-term relationship with Diamond, they invested $300,000 for their tables to let us use for free. And in exchange, they're hoping to sell tables. And Bad Boys cannot use CSI brackets. So if we do get the Predator tables and then we still want to run the tournament the way we're running it, would Predator let us use Bad Boys, or would it force us to change that regardless? So those are my comments about it.
Thank you. Predator doesn't have a say in anything. It's between Western BCA and CSI. Bob? Bob Olson.
Unmute.
Sorry, I got it. First of all, everybody I've talked to wants to play on diamond tables. There's no question that that's what everybody wants. Nikki brought up a very important part. You say, oh, we're going to save 10, 15,000. The player's going to spend over $100,000 more to pay in the spring rates. So if you really want to save players money, more may come at the winter rates than they do in the spring. I would bet that they would. And you want to save them money, we stay with Diamond. It's just that simple. This isn't rocket science. You're gonna have our players spend 150, 200,000 more in spring rates so that we can save 10, 15,000 on tables that nobody wants to play on. I'm done.
Bill Henderson.
Okay. Do we know if we're gonna be getting first or second generation Predator tables?
The only generation available is the ones that Ozzy has, which is the first generation. The second generation improvements I've heard of are only affecting setup and don't affect playability. So there's nothing changing that I know of with the rails, the rubber. It's stuff underneath the table. And I don't think second generations are that relevant in my opinion. And I've been the one who's spoken to the CEO of Predator, so I'm pretty certain of that.
Second, the people I've talked to that have played on Predator tables, they're not totally opposed to them playing in a tournament with them. It's a level playing field, no matter what kind of table you have, whether it's Predator or Diamond or Valley or whatever. So that should be brought into consideration also. Thank you. I'm done.
Yeah, I got Izzy. So hold on, I'm gonna tell you who I got next. I see Izzy, Tammy, and Steve. Tammy Conabear. Izzy, Tammy, and Steve. Izzy, you're next. Please unmute your phone.
All right. I've mentioned this on the Western BCA Facebook page, even though you can't see anymore because the posters are moved. My thinking was leaving our 8-ball and 9-ball event the way it is. I understand, Darren, based off of our Zoom meeting back in April, May, how you said that you were asked by the Indian Tribunal to possibly move one of the events to the other casino that wasn't or hasn't started being built yet. But here's my thinking behind it. Leave the 8-ball and 9-ball event with Bad Boys alone and start a separate one with CSI. Let's just say, because I remember you mentioning it, bringing back Pro Tour back to the area. Why don't we do that? A third event using the offer that CSI has already given us with Predator tables that doesn't conflict with Diamond and Bad Boys, and giving us the opportunity to promote the event with the pro players where when, if and whenever that new casino does actually get built, we can easily take that event and move it over to the new location.
Point of order, this is off topic.
Well, thank you for your feedback, Izzy. Next, Tammy.
So everybody keeps talking about winter rates and summer rates. Aren't our dates locked in already with Chinook winds for 2024?
2024, yes.
Okay, so at the summer winter rates doesn't even matter for next year
Correct.
because it's already locked in with the casino. So I just wanted to point that out because I think there was some confusion in there.
Yeah. Thank you. Speed marker.
Are we talking about tables?
We're talking about CSI's offer and the motion on the floor of whether
Okay.
to accept or reject CSI's offer for creditor tables.
Okay, this is what I know. Okay. And I've spoken to both entities. Okay. If you get diamond tables, you're going to get Rick Jones and you're going to get his program. If you go with CSI, you're going to get their program, and you're going to get Dwayne Payne to run it because he's been to a class that was 2 weeks long, so he knows how to run their program. Okay, so basically, if you get Predator tables, you're going to get Dwayne to run the CSI program, and you're going to get the Predator tables. If you get the Diamond tables, you're going to get Rick Jones. If you decide not to use Rick Jones, there's a possibility you're not going to get the Diamond tables. And that's what I've been told. I'm done.
All right, well, who's next? See Stephen's hand. Stephen Weekly.
So I talked to Chad as part of our research into being able to make our recommendation. And it's my understanding with Chad that yes, we can get diamond tables without having Bad Boys be tournament directors. We simply have to have them be responsible for the tables, transportation, setup, and maintenance, which again, as I said before, seems very reasonable considering what Chad is offering to supply.
Thank you for correcting him. Who's next? There's no further discussion. We'll move to a vote. I looked two more discussions. Hold on, I'm just about to go. Bob Olson, then Mike Lippman. Bob Olson, go ahead.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I talked a lot to Rick the night that Mike D was posting secret meeting of League Auburn operators and some of the other crap that was put on Facebook.
Stay on
and our
topic
website.
about the CSI's offer, okay? We need to.
I understand that, but you're trying to determine if you want to go with Diamonds or CSI. Nikki brought up the fact and said that Bad Boys was bullying, something you got to consider. That's why I'm bringing it up. It was part of the original discussion. And first of all, I really don't care what tables we play on. I will tell you this, and been my experience, when people get desperate, sometimes they do desperate things. Was Rick bullying in the previous years, or was he more concerned, or Mike D was more concerned about losing business for Bad Boys? I don't accept, and I don't like what he said. I talked to Rick for at least 20 minutes about how stupid it was what he did, but I don't think it's a long-term bullying issue with Bad Boys. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Lippman.
Okay, Darren, I'm sorry, can you restate when the offer for 2 tournaments came in from Ozzy?
We were told it was only one.
I don't know the exact date, but it was. Let me see, I got to go to my text messages is when I first heard about it and see if I can find the date. But yeah, I can. I want to say a month or two ago, but I don't know exactly.
Darren, I don't know
Was it
when
May?
it was first heard, but I know that I have an email from Ozzy directly verifying it. I believe it was Thursday or Friday of this week.
So that's when it was made public?
Yeah, that's when it was made public, because so that's one of the things, Michaels, when we were looking into doing all the research to make our recommendation, we were basing everything strictly off of what was on paper. You know, you can't take supposition, you can't take hearsay. If it's not on paper, it doesn't exist. So that was something that we did not
Agreed.
factor in. But he was able to confirm that. So I do have it in writing in an email that that is confirmed.
Okay. One last question, Darren, in your opening statement, you said something about wanting to use the money that we save. If you said that if it were up to you, we would do Predator tables for a year and use the money that we saved to buy some tables. Can you repeat that statement?
Yeah, I'd recommend we save the money and save as much as we can as a down payment towards purchasing 40 tables, not 80, and continue to rent the remaining number of them. Because I believe long-term, as I said in that 5-year vision, even if they don't build the Salem Casino, we will someday be at 120 tables in the near future, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 or 5 years, I don't know. But it will be at 120. And I feel if we can purchase 40 at some point, we will be in a better position for the duration of this organization. So
Okay, I didn't catch that you said a down payment. I thought you were saying that you thought we could buy 40 tables with the money that we saved, which is clearly not the case. So I just wanted to clarify.
thanks.
Okay, understood. I think everybody knows what the issues are here. To me, it's just late offers coming late in the game, and we need to wrap this up and get a vote. So that's all I'll say.
I agree. Julie, you're next.
So just to clarify, we don't have any sort of a contract, but we have in writing that they are agreeing to exactly what they are agreeing to if they give us these tables.
Yes.
But we don't know the dates, what the dates would entail.
The dates will be the ones on our website, 2024.
So this is only, okay, so it's only for 2024 and it's only those dates.
Right, read the motion, yep. Okay, so, all right, so I feel we need to move to a vote. If there's any last discussion, raise your hand. Otherwise, we're gonna move to a vote. All those abstaining, if you're abstaining.
Steven has his hand up.
Okay, Stephen, go ahead, sorry. Unmute, please. We can't hear you.
Okay, there we go. I just wanted to confirm that, yeah, the 2 event for free deal from them is for 2024, and that will be with our dates. But we do have in writing that the total package as it sits now, they have a 5-year deal with Predator, CSI does. And so for those 5 years, we would be able to get the 1 free event with setup each year. And that moving forward, if their deal with Predator renews, we would be included in that as well. We do have that in writing in an email.
Right, but going forward, if we went with Predator and stayed with Predator, we don't know, like the dates we just voted on obviously will not work because they will be using the Predator tables.
That is correct. And that's why when I proposed the dates and when I sent everything to Darren, I did put the contingency in there that those dates would involve coordination depending on the table selection. So that is correct.
All right, are we good? Sounds like we are.
Can I make a suggestion really quickly, just for voting purposes?
Sure.
Your motion says to accept or reject. So we are just gonna vote accept or reject.
I do have to allow abstain, no matter what. by our
Okay.
rules. So I guess accept, reject, or modify them. Do I need to modify the motion?
I don't know. I just wanted everybody to understand that we are voting to accept or reject. And yeah, of course, they can still abstain.
Yeah.
And are we doing it roll calls?
Um,
I think it's an important vote. I'd like to make sure we have the numbers correctly.
let's not do abstain by roll call.
You can do abstain by, you can do the whole thing by roll call. I
Okay.
just call out a name.
All right, we're gonna do, Timothy, got your hand up? Is it, go ahead real quick, and then we're gonna do the roll call vote.
Yeah, so can you restate exactly what the proposal is, and is it for both 8-ball and 9-ball in 2024 and just 2024?
Restate the motion that I read to you, Julie.
Motion to accept or reject CSI's offer to use Predator tables for 2024. But she just wants clarification. Is that both events in 2024?
Yes, the whole year, yeah, the entire year.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want me to start?
We'll start with the roll call vote, do with abstentions first would be ideal, then, I don't know, however you want
You'll
to do
tell me,
it.
yeah, just when I call your name, you either tell me reject, accept, or abstain.
Got it?
Becky Potter,
Reject.
this will go a lot faster if everybody unmutes. Arlen Grasham,
Reject.
Bill Henderson,
Abstain.
Bonnie Landis,
Reject.
Tammy Culbertson,
Accept.
Vic,
Accept.
Alfred, Roseanne Wilson,
Reject.
Sue Ledger, Sue Ledger, Sue still here?
I'm looking, Sue. Yes. Well,
Down, you're rejecting Sue? Thank you. Raquel,
Reject.
Suzanne Mackey,
Accept.
Doug Schultz,
One's out there?
No.
Oh.
Doug Schultz,
Reject.
Michelle Jensen, Michelle Jensen,
I guess.
Oh,
There we go. There we go. Reject. Did you get that, Julie?
Patrick Bennett,
Reject.
Amber Davis,
Reject.
Ryan Huntoon,
Reject.
Shelley Huntoon,
Reject.
Beth Potter,
Reject.
Tabitha Grasham,
Reject.
Elaine Eberly, Elaine Eberly,
Claire Rep rejects,
Robin Adams,
Reject.
Nikki Visconer,
reject.
Dave Chavez,
Accept.
Brittany Bidwell,
Reject.
Shelley Fraser rejects,
Tim Fraser,
Reject.
Michael Littman,
Reject.
Jackson McDonald,
Reject.
Bob Olson,
Reject.
Melissa Olson,
Reject.
Melissa Reeves,
Reject.
Dave Schneider,
Accept.
Linda Carter.
Reject.
I'm sorry,
Reject.
thank you.
Sorry.
Lawrence Frampton,
Reject.
Nancy Measor,
Reject.
Christy Palmer,
Reject.
Kai Rayburn,
Reject.
Ed Slade,
Reject.
Kathy Stanley, Kathy Stanley,
Reject.
Stephen Weekly,
Reject.
Michael Cho,
Reject.
Michael Deichman,
Reject.
Izzy Lemus,
Reject.
Steve Marker,
Reject.
Stephanie Crystal,
Abstain.
Tammy Conabear,
Accept.
Angela Busenbark,
Reject.
Doug Gibb,
Doug Gibb, reject. Sorry.
Trudy McCaffrey,
Oh, so I see it on chat, Trudy. Thank you. Chris Moreno,
Reject.
Sam Urbito,
Accept.
Jim Roberts,
Reject.
Tommy Fulton. Oh, I see
Reject.
you all. Thank you. Trina Chavez,
Accept.
Lisa Van Winkle,
Reject.
Carly Watros.
Reject.
All right, well, I think that's, that's it. If you
And
didn't hear
Shirley-
your name,
Shirley logged in just a little bit ago, so I don't think we called her name.
Shirley Morgan.
Morgan.
Wasn't here for the discussion and debate. Does she log in?
She's been in here for a little while. I just didn't want to interrupt. I sent her a text message, but so I wasn't interrupting. But I don't think.
Oh, I
that
didn't
she's-
get it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just didn't want to keep interrupting.
All right.
And Shirley, what is your vote?
Reject.
Did I miss anybody else?
What's the final vote count when you get a second?
Heading.
I think it's close.
Landslide approval.
I have 6 approved.
I just found a box of mail-in ballots.
32, 33. I'm adding, I'm sorry. I've never heard it that quiet. 1, 2. I have two abstentions, 8 exceptions, and 46 rejections.
Perfect, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is the next meeting date. What, Stephen?
I just wanted really quick to let everybody know, regardless of how the vote turned out, I do hope that everybody understands that we were obligated to present this information and offer to our membership and to our, people, just as we would be obligated to present anything. So I just hope everybody understands that. I know this has caused a rough, and yeah, we've had feelings hurt, we've had feelings helped. We've gained a lot of representation, so that's been a positive out of this process. But I just hope that everybody understands that, it's our obligation as a board, as the executive, branch, everything, to bring any offers that are made to the membership. So, thank you.
I agree, and a lot of the crap that was done was for nothing and a waste of time. But anyways, Elaine, go ahead. Elaine Eberly. I saw your hand.
Okay, here I am, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm here. Stephen, thanks for saying that, because I felt that all along. I felt being involved with the podium, I didn't want to post anything. I was really torn. I have to say I'm disappointed in some people's behavior. It's really, a lot of people kind of surprised me. But like you, I hope we can get past this. It's like water under the bridge. We're all here for one reason. We love the game, and doesn't matter what table we're playing on. We'd all be playing on the same table. But let's move on from this and appreciate all the effort that went into it, because it was really hard. And I think a lot of people's feelings were really hurt, and some people should think about things that they said and did. And you know, I just felt I had to say that. Thanks.
Thanks. Bill?
Yes, the vote we just had was on tables. There's also other parts to having a tournament run. And part of it is the tournament direction program that we use. And there should be a separate contract for a tournament direction. And I hope that's being done in the future.
Right after this meeting, you'll see an email regarding the contract committee because you're on it. Okay?
Super.
All right, next meeting. Julie, can you look at your calendar and help me pick the next meeting date?
Well, are we doing, is it, you're looking after the event or before the event?
This is our third one of the, well, it's our fourth of the year, third quarterly. Because only quarterlies, I only have to do 4 of these meetings a year, and we've got 4 quarterlies. So it can be after the event in my eyes.
There's no reason we need to meet Tammy Culbertson doesn't have any reason we would
I
need
see
to.
you, Conabear. Yeah, give me 1 second and then I'll get to Conabear. Culbertson, do you have anything that needs to be discussed at a meeting between now and the next tournament? If she does, we can also.
No.
To the board.
No, what I'll do is I'll just email out Darren and the board and for any questions that I might have, getting all the stuff going forward.
Okay. Conabear, what's on your mind?
So with Ray resigning, do we need to have another meeting for a special election for the board?
I'm gonna send him an email and beg him to reverse his decision, but I don't think he will, but I do need to have another election, I believe. Sam, what's the, when a board member steps down, when do I have to have the next special election? Should be the next meeting.
It's right in the bylaws what the procedures are that the board member has to go through. Other than that, it's a board activity. If I'm remembering correctly.
To vote in a new board member, it's a membership activity. I'll go read I'll go read the rules on it.
I understand, but he has steps that he's supposed to take to resign.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I don't think
he might have just been upset or angry or something. Just give him a day. Ask Mr. Weekly to take care of it. And let us know.
All right, Stephen Weekly, please take care of it. All right, good points, Tammy. We'll find out. I got to go read the rules on this. It hasn't happened before.
And while we're talking about that, John Scudder sent me an email today that he had resigned a while ago as member at large. I'm not sure how, since he was just elected as member at large. But we had like 5 other people running for that. So at the next meeting, we should have another election to fill that spot, but you need to let people know.
Please put on unfinished business elections for MAL and board seat if necessary.
Okay.
Thank you so much, because I'm gonna need your unfinished business to do the next agenda. And what date are we thinking? Let me look at the calendar. All we gotta do is pick our next meeting date so we can adjourn. Let's see. But I'm right, if we do it right after the tournament, there'd be our final quarterly meeting, right? We had 2.
Right.
Right in November is never a good time. But you know what? Let's make it to be determined. Do you want to, for now?
Okay.
We'll put an
And is it
announcement.
going to be a Zoom or in person? Is that also to be
November,
determined?
the weather's bad. It's November, the weather's bad. I don't think driving in that. Try Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just announce the date in the future. So I'll make sure that people have the date as soon as possible. Since we're talking about November as a possible date, I don't think it's going to help anybody to have the date right now. Okay, next, what was on there? Executive session. I'm not opposed to an executive session. Stephen Weekly, do you feel we need one?
Yes, I'm not Stephen, but I say yes.
All right. So if you're a board member or officer, please stay on the call. Everyone else, you are dismissed.
wanna
And
go
thank you so much for your time.